Come on. Get them shackles off him. Poor sod can't eat proper.
Dunno. Not sure I like that. What if he runs for it? He's worth a heap of coin.
Ah, bollocks. Been holding him a week, hasn't tried a thing. Why'd he up and bolt now? Matter of fact, got to thinking. What did a sweet, gentle chap like him do to get the Queen of Zerrikania so riled?
She's a shrew, that's what. Queen and witch in one. Worst of both worlds.
Enough about her. What do you say to one more of your tales? While we toss down some cards.
Ah, why not? And since you mentioned one queen... The year 1267. War hung in the air, its scent palpable. The mighty empire of Nilfgaard stood poised, greedily eyeing the northern realms just across the Yaruga. In light of the threat, the realm's sovereigns met in summit. They made declarations, pledged fraternal assistance, forged alliances. And then, in good spirits, dispersed. Among them, Meve, Queen of the Twin Realms Lyria and Rivia. Know the name? Heard her beauty extolled? Justly so. Remarkable she was. Not for her graceful exterior, but for her persistence and courage. Where was I? As the Queen and her retinue neared her capital, Count Caldwell appeared. In Meve's absence, the Count was to have helped her son, the youthful Prince Willem, run the Twin Kingdoms. Caldwell had clearly ridden hard. Drops of perspiration dangled from his whiskers, his neck red and chafed from a ruff, starched stiff.
Hail, Your Majesty! Delighted to see you in good health. The summit, it ended fruitfully, I hope?
Yes, at its end letters were exchanged, documents signed. Paper. Time will tell of what value. That will suffice as cordialities go, Caldwell. Tell me what's happened, for I sincerely doubt sheer longing prompted you to ride out.
Indeed, Your Grace. Another circumstance inspired me to do so. The strays of Sparla, the bandits, I was to tend to during Your Grace's absence. The situation's gotten out of hand, I fear.
Steady, Caldwell. Come now. Deep breath. All right. Speak. What has happened? Be precise.
As Your Grace ordained. I set out and was nipping at the bandits' tails for long. We pursued for weeks, until scouts returned, having sighted the strays' camp in the forest near Locheren. We waited for nightfall, to surprise them as they slept. Alas, it proved a ruse. We found the tents empty. Straw-stuffed dummies round the fire. Soon, we learned that as we waited for the sunset, the strays had snuck away, rounded our positions and ridden to Hawksburn.
I beg your pardon, my lord. The tax collectors. That is where they station.
So the gold? All of it?
It's stolen, Your Grace, but I shall do all in my power to recover it. This I vow, if it be Your Grace's wish.
After weeks in the saddle, Your Grace's wishes are modest. A hot bath and a night's sleep in her own bed. Yet, they shall have to wait. I must look personally to this matter. Your force, Caldwell, I will now command. You... send a herald to Hawksburn. They must prepare for the Queen's arrival. Air the rooms, dust off the porcelain. Make certain they do it. Do you see now, Rainard? I believe I foretold it would be thus. My son wasn't ready in the least to rule an entire country.
I confess, Prince Willem has much to learn yet.
Yeah, for this prospect.
Yes, Lyria, the Pearl of the North, with its hills and dales. Why, its beauty matched only by that of its queen.
After 3 weeks in the saddle, I've my doubts, Count. We shall pitch camp here. Our soldiers need respite. A bit of respite, Rainard?
Yes. But if you've any new orders, Your Grace, I can be ready at any...
At ease, Rainard. At ease. Alas, I've come to fear Willem might simply not be cut out to be a king. let alone a good one.
A harsh judgment, Your Grace. Let's not be hasty. The prince is but 16 summers to him.
And is thus fully grown. The crown he should be able to bear at his age. Yet I left the land in his care for but a few months, and look what's become of it. Bandits roam and loot unchecked.
We might yet learn of mitigating circumstances. Events beyond his control.
Would that it were so, Rainard. Would that it were so. Elsewise we must hope Ansaeus will demonstrate more wit than his brother. Though I see little chance of that either. Don't you find it wearisome sitting alone? Wouldn't you prefer another's company? Swapping tales with the innkeep, even?
Your concern I most appreciate, Your Grace. But I prefer silence.
Has it always been thus with you? Ever a man apart?
Quite the contrary, Your Grace. As a youth, I gloried in company. Delighted in conversation.
So what was it that changed you?
That delight nearly cost me my head. But do you truly not know the tale, milady? How I came to be your departed husband's aide?
I don't. But would gladly hear it.
I had but 20 winters behind me when I enlisted. Yet I was granted the rank of lieutenant from the start. Not by merit, but by birth. The respect of veteran officers, both my peers and seniors, that they could not grant. Nor did I deserve it. To earn that respect became my driving aim. And to seem wise beyond my years, I began spouting off about the king's decisions. This maneuver Reginald botched. That he failed to think through. And yet elsewhere he'd blundered like a schoolboy.
Talk of that nature could only ever result in misfortune.
It was not long before I was clanking about in shackles. Another officer had reported me. I was charged with lèse-majesty. The court-martial took but a quarter of an hour to deliver verdict and sentence. I was guilty of treason, and the noose awaited me. But Reginald first stayed the execution, then ordered that I repeat every word I'd uttered about his person or deeds. Soaked with sweat, my voice cracking, I did as he ordained. Reginald listened, raptly and silently, and when I'd finished, he declared I was right. He then appointed me his personal aide. A clever lad like you, I can always use at my side.
Indeed. Though hardly sharp himself, wisdom in others Reginald both recognized and heeded.
It was then I swore two things. Firstly, never again to wag my tongue like a fool. Secondly, never to betray his trust.
And you never did. Know what he told me moments before he passed? Trust none of them, Meave, save Rainard. The old sod was right about that, at least. I thank you for sharing that tale, Rainard.
Filth!
Necrophages. Drawn here by blood scent.
For such vile monstrosities to prowl the high roads of my realm. I won't allow it! Attack!
Retinue arrived at Hawksburn. The men stationed there they found standing at attention, baking under the blistering noonday sun.
Your Majesty, Count Caldwell.
Stand at ease, Sergeant. And report.
The local peasants we've rounded up in the yard, Your Grace. Expect they might have lent the bandits aid. Yet our courtesy hadn't inspired them. They haven't peeped a word. Might it please Your Grace to summon the hangman? He ties a noose for them, should have them jabbering right quick.
I'll speak to them first.
Your Majesty, for the Queen to question commoners, why, it's simply not proper.
Whom for? I shan't be stripped of crown and titles for it, so no impediment do I see. Lead me to them.
Bow low for your sovereign, Her Majesty, Queen Meave of Lyria and Rivia.
Ha' mercy, Your Grace. We bear no guilt, we simple folk.
Calm your hearts, good folk. Though your queen I may be, you are subjects, not slaves.
Meave extended a hand, the royal ring gleaming upon it. Unfamiliar with protocol, a pleb gripped it firmly and gave it a shake as hearty as a good scrub in the tub.
My, we shall be addressing one another by name afore long.
This is an outrage! Guards! Grab him!
I've all in hand, Caldwell.
Forgive me, Your Grace. I'm not accustomed, nohow.
Nonsense. You've a firm grip, a spry handshake, and a bold spirit I can respect. What do they call you, man?
Helmer, son of Florence.
Delighted, Helmer. Now understand me, man. I am in dire straits and in need of your aid. So please, answer my queries in full and forthrightly. The bandits. Whom do they follow?
Him, milady. We seen him. No name, just an odd title. The Duke of Dogs, they call him.
My, a blue-blood thoroughbred mutt. Where are he and his hounds bound? Did he say?
Do I recall, Imogen? What do you name? A Gleeton or something?
Clayton. Lord Clayton. His estate lies to the south.
Sound the horns. Have the men form up. We march at once.
Milady! Arbor no ire for the Duke. He's a good man. Gave us proper brass for the welcome we gave him. Shared what grub he had.
Shut it, louts. The Queen's had her say. Your Grace, your orders. What are we to do with them?
Leave them be. The harvest draws close. Hard work. They'll have their hands full.
Oh, milady. Thanks be to you, thanks be. I pray Mother Melitele watch over your kind heart.
Pray she watches over yours. Should I hear of you sheltering bandits again, of you lying to my officers, I shall return and put torch to every hut, field and orchard. Understood.
Meve set off toward Lord Clayton's estate at a gallop, her mount knocking the peasants aside as it kicked up a cloud of dust. The folk of Hawksburn spoke of the royal visit long after.
That rumble. What is it?
Look out! Rock slide!
Smoke. Gods damn it! Make haste!
As the Clayton estate appeared from behind a tree line, the Queen and all in her retinue knew at once they had arrived too late. A veritable swarm of bandits milled about the yard.
Who have we here? I'll take a gander, lads. The Queen herself has deigned to come and see us.
See you, then kill you.
The strays of Sparla. 'Tis you who lead them. 'Tis you they call the Duke of Dogs.
Aye, 'tis I they dub so. And in other pleasant ways. Prince of Pariahs, Thane of Thieves, Baron of Brigands, and Marquess of Mendacity.
Colourful titles all, yet you omit one. Common cutthroat!
I beg your pardon and cry foul. I am anything but common.
You needn't get excited, Caldwell. Where is Lord Clayton?
Sadly, my lord's no longer with us. Turned us away, you see. Denied us hospitality. A sacred right, after all. Angered the gods mightily, I expect, as he promptly met a tragic end. Fell in the well and broke his neck.
I've heard enough. To arms!
Bravo, your grace. Well played.
I can't say the same for you, I fear. You'd have done better to die in battle. Bound for Lyria now, where the hangman will have his way with you.
Splendid! I've ever wished to see the capital.
Quite certain of yourself, you seem.
Many afore you have braided nooses for me, your grace. Yet as you see, my neck's straight as a pike.
My threats are never hollow. And if it's an escape you weigh, well, we've yet to see any man abscond from the dungeons of Lyria Castle.
I'd hope so. For to be known as second just wouldn't be worth the trouble.
Ugh. Take him away.
As soldiers placed the Duke of Dogs in shackles, there was a sudden commotion. A messenger rushed in, sweaty, gasping for air, smelling of smoke and blood. His gaze spoke terror.
Your Majesty, graces. Nilfgaard's crossed the Yaruga. Black-clad hordes. Villages burn. Folk lie murdered.
Nilfgaard! Gods help us!
They march for Dravograd. Prince Willem, he can't hope to arrive in time with aid. Help us! You must!
Dravograd. Blast it all. Listen close, soldier. You're to take a fresh mount, ride hard back to your commander and say the Queen comes to repel the foe.
Your Grace, begging your pardon, our force. We aren't many. Let's send for reinforcements first. Elsewise...
Rainard, I've seen Nilfgaard's trebuchets at work. Should we delay until we're stronger, they'll leave no stone standing in Dravograd. We must ride for the town at once.
As her men prepared to march, Meve climbed the manor's tower. Smoke rose in columns in the distance. As more black pillars appeared one after the other, She knew they meant another home, another barn, another mill was in flames. Tears welled in her eyes, yet they were tears of anger.
Bastards. If it's war they seek, it's war I shall bring them.
The Lyrians smashed the Nilfgaardian force. The troll, having grown suddenly pensive, gazed and picked at the invaders' corpses.
Clad in blacks, humans. No good humans.
Just so, Sir Troll. The Nilfgaardians are a devious lot. Our land they've attacked most treacherously.
Clad in blacks, humans hard. Why no good humans? Big lot armor. Shoe got to. Try morsel of human, you wish?
Do you know to whom you speak? This is Her Majesty, your queen.
Greeting your queen. Shoop is me.
There, Rainard. I believe I can manage this. Say, Shoop, you've quite the stockpile of kegs. Do you engage in custom, perhaps?
No. Kegs good for smash when Shoop angry gets. But costume engaging. That what mean?
It means... well, to trade one thing for another. At a profit.
One thing for other. For glitter rocks, even.
Yes, if you play your cards right, you might just convince someone to pay you in rocks.
Cards, kegs, trade, glitter rocks. Shoop plan got. Shoop gotta go. Afore human go, Shoop human give. Your queen aid give, your queen aid get.
The troll turned on his heel and ran out of his cave, his destination known only to himself. As she moved to leave, a hunch told Meve the world would yet hear of it. The Nilfgaardians fled in panic, abandoning war machines, shields, and arms, even their wounded. The defenders rejoiced. They laughed boisterously, and cries of delight and chanting could be heard all around. "Warrior Queen," they shouted. "Meve! Meve! Meve!"
Hear that, your grace.
I do. No sound rings more lovely to a ruler's ear. Yet rest on our laurels we cannot. Caldwell, the situation in the town, what can you tell me?
Wall breached. Thrice. 400 wounded, near 1,000 without roofs over their heads. All nothing compared to the grain stores. Went up in smoke during the siege. And it's some time yet afore the harvest. Your Grace, the war's just begun, I know. All coin should bolster the army, yet if we leave the folk of Dravograd no gold, there will be hunger, with all the attendant discord.
You saw the state of the garrison here. Its men fought barefoot, no foot wrappings even. Is my meaning clear? I must have a strong army to command. Lacking that, other towns will fall, more grain stores will burn, and famine will visit not Dravograd alone, but all Lyria. Caldwell, the gold I need very much.
As you command, Your Grace?
The battle we've won, there's just the war that remains. And Nilfgaard will strike again, doubt it not. We must move on. Caldwell, ride ahead to Lyria. My son must call a gathering of the Council of Peers. Tell him so. We'll have much to discuss. Rainard and I will follow with the troops. We shall seek out any Nilfgaardian stragglers, prevent them from rejoining the main force.
Meve's two adjutants bowed and left the Queen to think. She was hungry, sore from the fight, spent. Yet sensing her soldiers' eyes upon her, she set off for the stable, her gait brisk, her head held high. On their way to the capital, Meve and company happened one fine day upon a lone rider. Had I been at her side, I would immediately have recognized his passionate gaze and altogether chivalrous mien.
Identify yourself, sir, and your intent.
Ache of Denel I am dubbed, and my design I never conceal. The good book says the world is a garden which the gods once conferred upon man, and we men have this garden neglected. In consequence, all manner of filth has made its lair here. Drowners, ghouls, and other kobolds. I have sworn ne'er to rest until the day when, with the gods' help, I have rid the world of these beasts and pests. I wander all lands, seeking out evil and facing it in mortal combat.
Who do we spy? A knight errant?
Just as likely a madman. How goes your hunt? Caught the trail of any monster?
Monster? Too fair a term by far. An exceptionally vile worm has made its lair in nearby caverns. It is said to be the very distillation of filth. A slither in horror. A mélange of the macabre. Its head, that of a wild cat of Ophir. Its maw full of spiked teeth. The wings of a bat it is said to have. The tail of a scorpion, and from it, a thick venom drips. Learned men call this variety a manticore, or mardiacore.
Perhaps it will be most prudent, then, to send for a witcher.
A witcher? Soulless automatons they are, all, feeding on common folk's fears. What they demand gold to do, I perform without demand of any coin.
Sir Ake, far be it from me to discourage you. Your endeavor is noble, no doubt. But from what I have heard, manticores are exceedingly dangerous beasts.
To defeat this filth alone could be a difficult task, I'll not deny. Yet try it I must, for it is what I have sworn before the gods.
We shall help you find and fight the manticore, provided you then pledge to help us fight an even fiercer and filthier beast.
Of course, my lady. Yet what manner of horror is it? A viper? A griffin? A drake of some rare form?
Were it only. 'Tis a beast of 1,000 heads, covered in black armor, its fire consuming whole villages.
Noble lady. I know bestiaries only in parts, yet I've seen some of the world, and never have I heard of such a terror.
You need but look about you, and spot Nilfgaard's legions.
Devastating. But you must forgive me, Your Grace. This struggle between realms is not one to which I can lay a hand.
A manticore. How great is its appetite? How many men does it fell? In a moon, let us say.
It changes. At a time when the horror broods, it may be as many as 20.
I see. As now you must. Nilfgaard in my capital could mean as many as 20,000 felled. You live to fight evil, injustice, do you not? You can fight none greater than by doing so at my side.
The manticore, Your Grace, must fall first. As to what happens later, I shall need to consult the good book and petition the gods.
Agreed, so be it. This monster, where lies its lair? Where does it prowl?
To the north, my queen. A few leagues on.
With Ake at their side, the Lyrians fell the manticore. Later, it was said, the beast's dying wail, multiplied and strengthened as it passed through the caverns, could be heard as far as Spala.
Your Grace, many monarchs have I met in my time, yet none proved as virile in battle as did your Majesty.
Virile? I dislike the term. Seems not to suit a woman. I prefer valiant. Yet grateful I am for the compliment. Now pray reveal, have you made your decision? Will you swear to serve me? Are you prepared to take an oath?
I am not, Your Grace. I can serve only the gods. Yet, I do believe them to be on your side as one unjustly and treacherously attacked. Thus I see nothing wrong in assisting you.
Then I am content and welcome you in my ranks, Sir Ake of Denel.
The knight-errant bowed low from the waist. So low, in fact, the gambeson neath his mail creaked. Meave could only hope he would battle Nilfgaardians.
The mess tent? How's the ale? Not too warm, I hope.
'Tis not for me to say, Your Majesty. My tankard holds but milk of the goat.
Milk? A witless prank. I shall tell the quartermaster at once what I think of such...
Unnecessary, Your Grace. I called for the beverage.
Is that so? Well then.
The good book states clearly, the shadow of spirits obscureth light most true, and leadeth thee from the path of virtue.
Right. I suppose there's something to it.
My soul sings to hear your affirmation, Your Grace. If ever you wish to discuss the good book and the wisdoms contained therein, hesitate not to find me.
Certainly, I shall remember that. Your crusade against monsters. Have you been at it long?
Come next Bellatane, it will be 20 years, Your Grace. Though, there was one extended interruption.
For what reason? Had you grown weary of the knight-errant's life?
Not in the least. Never shall I cease in my quest to cleanse the world of filth and abominations. But at times evil puts up rather a good fight. I ventured forth to slay a dragon once, a gold one, as it were, calling itself Villa Tretormeft, or the like. Its very name, as is evident, a vile toil for the tongue and wafting wickedness. A great many mercenaries embarked on the hunt, lured by the promise of coin in heaps. The Crinford Reavers, Yarpen Zigrin, and a band of dwarves. Even, curse the word, a witcher. One Yennefer, the most lecherous sorceress, at his side.
That name I've heard.
But at the deciding moment, when the beast challenged all, I alone emerged to face it. Alas, well, shame burns me to admit it. I returned from the battle upon my shield. Figuratively. Literally, I returned in pieces. For 2 years, I lay in the Temple of Melitele in Alanda. Mother Neneke, God's protector, nursing me back to full health. And only when I could once more grip my sword did I return to the path I'd chosen.
And the dragon? What was its fate?
Some claim it flew off to Zerrikania, though it very well might yet lurk here, awaiting the opportune moment to terrorize the folk of the north again.
Farewell, Ake. Enjoy it long, I fear. Soon we must face the black-clads in the field.
Yet a moment's peace we will have. After that drubbing you gave them at Dravograd, they'll wish to rethink.
Speak freely, candidly.
Welcome home, Mother. Content I am to see you, to be sure.
And I'm happy to see you. Though I dare say I'd have been much happier to witness you leading an army towards Dravograd. Willem, I trusted you. Left the realm in your care.
Indeed. And I, in turn, did my utmost to choose the best course for...
Willem, don't be so damned courtly. There's no one else here. My son. Nilfgaard has invaded our home. We're at war. When rulers don't strive and don't choose, when rulers grab their swords and shields and ride out to defend their subjects.
You didn't let me finish.
All right. Say what you wanted to, please.
I feared I'd be hasty, Mother, and I didn't want to be. When we got word of the invasion, the lords convened at the castle. They demanded I hear them out. They wanted to give me counsel. If I'd rushed into the field to confront the foe, I'd have been half blind to the situation, not known all the options I had at my disposal.
A ruler never knows all the options. Yet he must decide and act nonetheless. I need to prepare. I'll see you at the Council of Peers.
And indeed she did, when the peers convened in the throne room. Surrounded by animal hides and Zerrikanian tapestries, the lords stood in tense silence, awaiting the queen. When her figure filled the doorway, they fawningly prostrated themselves.
We've myriad matters to resolve, so I trust you're well rested. Whatever the case, I've no doubt we shall meet the dawn afore we're done. Firstly, we must ask assistance. Pen a letter to King Demavend. Scribe, take this down. Dear... What? Uncle? Cousin? Blast. Again. I, Meave, By the God's grace, sovereign of Rivia and...
Your Grace. Mother. The peers and I, we've come to propose another solution.
Yes? Out with it.
We wish to acknowledge Nilfgaard's authority, pledge fealty to the Emperor.
I beg your pardon.
The black-clad hordes outnumber our forces manyfold, and they're far better equipped. We stand not the slightest chance against them in open...
You will not lecture me about Nilfgaard's army, my son. All you know of them you garnered from coloured renderings, whereas I faced them at Dravograd. I faced them and crushed them.
But your grace, the losses! For this fleeting victory in which you delight, how many of your subjects had to perish? Bend a knee afore the Emperor, and you shall spare thousands.
Nay, never! Understood, Caldwell? Not ever!
I'd hoped to persuade you, but it seems I've failed. Nonetheless, the die's been cast. We've signed the accord with Nilfgaard. Our noble lords stand with me.
The blood left Maeve's face. She had realized her son, who had ever professed to detest politics and shirked his duties as crown prince, had just stabbed her in the back, as had her entire court.
What is this? Treason to my eyes! The gallows is what awaits you!
Willem rules Lyria now. And should you not acquiesce and approve the accord, I fear only you, milady, shall have the pleasure to meet the hangman.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Caldwell. My mother will not be harmed. Not one hair on her head. Understood? Confine the Queen to the tower.
You err deeply, my son.
The Queen was confined to a cell. Gilded armor she had traded for a simple robe. A courtly retinue for a swarm of rats. She was the very picture of misery. At the window of her cell, gripping the bars, Maeve stood powerless. Her anger so great she wept and wailed. Her Lyria was free no more.
Have I come at a bad time?
Demons take you, Caldwell. You've long been at this scheme, haven't you? You left the strays of Sparla to roam the realm, to forage, so that I would have to look to them. And thus gained your cohorts the time they needed to complete Lyria's sail to Nilfgaard.
You've seen through it all, that's clear. After the fact, of course, but still.
Willem, you turned him. How?
The boy's not fit to wear the crown. Hasn't sufficient wit nor valor. I know this. You know this. Just, he knows it not. Willem fancied himself a statesman. Wished terribly to prove he was one. I made it possible. I've been amply rewarded, I have. Palatine since just yesterday, in fact.
You'll have neither my blessing nor congratulations. Sorry to disappoint you.
I seek neither. I've come for another reason. To bid you adieu. Willem does not seek your death. Does not even fathom it, as you well know. Moreover, his resolve will wilt in time, and he'll wish to free you. So, come the morn, when the young king rides out to pledge fealty afore General Ep Dahi, you shall use your bed linens to hang yourself.
I see. You wish to see me bow afore you, lie prostrate, beg you for mercy, plough yourself with a pike, Caldwell. And you needn't send your thugs. I'll not falter nor hesitate. I'll take my own life.
Adieu, your grace. And use your last evening wisely.
Maeve felt a rush of despair, yet bit her lip to mute any weeping. No, she would not give Caldwell the satisfaction. Morning arrived with the sound of footsteps in the corridor. Maeve rose from her cot and stood in the center of her cell. She was prepared for anything. Well, nearly anything.
The Duke of Dogs.
Titles seem senseless under the circumstances, don't you think? Let's forgo them. I'm Gascon.
Has Caldwell sent you? To kill me?
No and a no. Actually, you're free. How shall I put this? That cad, Count Caldwell, used yours truly and the strays as bait, in a scheme aimed at kicking your shapely backside off your throne. Now, I'm hardly vindictive. First to forgive, in fact. Take your threat to send me to the gallows. Forgotten already. Yet being played for a fool, I cannot abide. So when the strays freed me, I knew what I'd do to spite the Count afore I disappeared. I'd free you. That's to say, on one condition. You've got to request it of me, my lady. Courteously.
For my realm I will do this, and much, much more. Even bow afore a brigand. Thus I beg you, Gascon, Duke of Dogs, grant me my freedom.
Ha! Incredible! I've lived to see someone grovel with dignity. The true ruler you've got to be. You are free.
I'm grateful. Now please let me pass. I must get to the city jail at once.
Would you look at this woman? Free her from one prison, she flies off to the next.
They hold Rainard there. And if I've any ally left, anyone who's not betrayed me, it's him. I must get him out.
Hold, my lady. Unarmed, alone.
Have I any other option?
In a sense. See, they locked a few strays in the city pits too. Got a common cause, I'd say. Care to join force?
The Queen took...
I thank you, Gascon. You and your men, for your aid.
'Tis now, my lady. Strays never say no to a proper brawl.
No brawl this was. Sun rising against Mother. Lyrian striking at Lyrian. I fear a blood war's begun.
Come now. Seems to me the war's ended. Your realm's lost to Nilfgaard. You've no army to speak of.
Then I shall assemble a new one. And with it have Caldwell hanged, and drive Nilfgaard back across the Yaruga.
You're mad. How will you find the men? Riding from hamlet to hamlet, speaking from atop a crate?
No. I shall find them in Edirn. I've a favour to call in with King Demavend, and I'll sway volunteers to my cause on the way.
Well, you've your first willing warriors already.
How so?
We've nothing left in Lyria. Our hideouts are compromised. Caldwell's sure to set a price on our heads, and Nilfgaardians roam the land in numbers. Besides, I'll be right tickled to see proud Queen Meve fighting elbow to elbow with a bandit she'd wish to hang just a half day afore.
Well, it is said my foe's foe is my friend, and I'd be a fool to turn down assistance now, no matter who offers. So be it.
You can't? Nay? Well then, the high road beckons. Though first we must escape the city with our lives. Follow me.
Lyria was hers no more. Meve now had to flee her capital and realm as quickly as she could. Wont to travel the city streets in a gilded carriage, the Queen now saw them from a slightly different vantage point.
Is this the only way? Are you quite certain?
The Queen is a common fugitive now, so she'd do better to pinch her nose and whinge not at all.
At long last, Meve reached the gate. Yet this she found shut tight, locked and guarded.
Gods be damned!
Easy, your grace. Nothing we can't solve with a quiver full of quarrels.
Those are our men.
They were, Rainard, were.
Gascon's raiders were poised to loose their bolts, but were thwarted when the Queen stepped out in front of them.
What's she... Your Majesty? I've orders to arrest your grace.
Place me in irons, then.
Please understand, I haven't a choice.
Fear not. You'll be rewarded by Caldwell in Nilfgaardian Florens.
The captain's head dropped. His cheeks burned crimson.
Go, your grace. Flee now, but only to return.
Remember this, Gascon. I'm no fugitive. I'm a queen, robbed of her rightful crown. And though I may need to venture to the world's end before I return, I shall have it back.
Having fled Lyria, Queen Meve ventured into Edirn, her old friend Rainard and new ally Gascon at her side. The war had bitten into this land too. Still, Meve hoped to sway King Demavend to her cause, and, with his aid, to oust the traitors, retake her throne, and drive the Nilfgaardian invader from her realm. Yet to start, she was forced to fight, Scoia'tael no less. Emerging from a wood, Meve's retinue encountered a unit of elven rebels just moments from hanging a handful of prisoners. Among the latter, the Queen spotted a woman, a proud warrior with a striking, thick black braid.
The lass I believe I know.
Well, unless we rush to her rescue, it'll soon be you knew her.
Well said. Lyrians, attack!
Speed, their cunning, and their cruelty. Yet in the end, the Lyrians prevailed. When the last elf hit the ground, the Queen had her men untie those they'd sought to hang.
1,000 thanks, Your Grace. Heard many tales of your valor. Pleased to see they weren't just flattery and propaganda.
Black Rayla. Hagar, we saw you there. You command King Demavend's special forces.
That's right. Though not many remain to command.
So I see. How did it come to this?
My liege sent me to wipe out a Scoia'tael band, led by a rat called Eldane. Followed the vermin's tracks for several days. Straight into his trap, turned out.
Hunting elves in the woods. Truly inspired, I must say.
Had no choice. Doing nothing would have brought us surer, swifter doom. The Black Clad have invaded Edirn. Thanks to elven aid. They snap our supply lines, lurk like dogs, prey on vulnerable units and scouts.
You mean to say Nilfgaard's broken your defences?
Aye. Though their march will soon halt, believe me. To advance, they'll have to take Rosberg. A stronghold that's yet to fall once. They'll break against its walls like waves upon the rocks.
While Edirn stands, the north is not yet lost.
I'll convey your grace's words to the king at the first occasion.
I'd rather hope to convey them myself. I have come to Edirn seeking aid. I wish to ask Demavend for support.
The king is in Rosberg, overseeing siege preparations. I'm heading that way too to report on our skirmish with the Scoia'tael.
About the same as the bandits' life did.
I beg your pardon?
The tents are cold, the food's shite. On the plus side, plenty to drink, most days. A skirmish here, a scuffle there, Nilfgaardians one day, elves the next, and whoever we rout, we rob of what they've got.
Requisition, you mean? Fully in accordance with the laws of war.
Oh, please. Save your excuses for your father confessor.
The Duke of Dogs. Whence the name?
Not certain I should tell you. It's a personal story, somewhat.
I insist.
So, thing is, I'm a werewolf of sorts.
Did I hear werewolf?
Of sorts. You see, when the full moon glows in the night sky, I transform into a creature that's half man, half dachshund. And then all the other hounds of the night hearken to my command.
Oh, forget I asked.
With pleasure.
I can't stop wondering. How did your strays break into the tower in Lyria?
They exploited its chief weakness.
What weakness is that? I oversaw its construction myself. Walls 5 feet thick, bars and grates of the sturdiest iron.
All tremendous, I'm sure. But how much do you pay the guards?
What? I don't know. The garrison's commander is in charge of that.
Let me tell you then. Not much, Meve. Not much at all. From atop a throne, it's hard to spot the little things. Example, a guard hard up for coin, or one with ambitions. But seeing that's second nature to even the most ordinary bandit. Take any castle door. To open it, to open all, one needs but a pouch of gold.
It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell.
Yes, Your Grace?
How has it come to this? I, Queen Meve of Lyria and Rivia, must prowl about the underbrush like a common bandit. And you, General Rainard Odo. Once proud commander of 4 elite regiments of footmen, now lead a gang of deserters, bandits and scythe-wielding peasants.
I do so proudly, Your Grace.
You must be joking, Rainard.
Your Majesty, under your husband I served 10 years, under you another 8, and never in that time did I fight for a more worthy cause. We seek not to grab land, or stifle a peasant revolt. We fight for all the North, for our freedom, that of others, and you alone didn't give up. Didn't even consider bending the knee before Nilfgaard.
Yes, all true. Yet look where it's brought me.
Your struggle has but begun, Your Grace, and I will do all in my power to see you triumph in the end.
I cannot forgive myself one thing, that I failed to see through Caldwell's schemes. He must have plotted treason for months, years even, yet I suspected nothing.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Your Grace.
Easily said. Ugh, if I'd only realized it in time.
Nilfgaard would have found a different traitor, or sent an assassin north. It was unavoidable what happened. The Blackclads would have attacked in any case, and we'd have stood no chance to defeat the foe in open battle, repel him, drive him out.
So, had you been there when the peers assembled, you also would have voted to bend the knee?
No. My honor would never have allowed it. I'd have thrown myself into the fire, and probably died a fool for it. As matters stand, I still have a chance to thwart the invader, his intentions. It seems, in a twisted turn of fate, I should be grateful to Caldwell.
It's time I attended to other... How fare you, Rayla? The quartermaster, did he assign you a tent?
He tried.
Oh, and?
I refused it. Best to sleep beneath the stars, little chance of a foe catching you off guard.
Rain accepted, perhaps?
I'm not made of sugar, ma'am. I'm not gonna melt.
One sees very few women in the ranks, let alone in the special forces. How did you come to join?
On merit. Proved I'd be of use.
Yes, well, naturally. But how exactly?
I was 15 when I went to enlist, but the sergeant in charge of signing folk up told me to scurry on home. So I proposed a wager, arm wrestling. If I won, he'd let me join. If I lost, I'd pay him 100 crowns.
And that kind of coin? You had it?
No, so I had to win. As we sat down at the table, across from each other, he laughed and rolled up his sleeve. When it was over, all around us were laughing at him. Then I just followed orders. Did so well enough to draw the king's attention.
Soon after entering Edirn, Meve ordered a halt. She wished to sit with Black Rayla and plan their onward march, for Rayla knew every path in the realm, including ones not drawn on any map. They were hard at work when shouts rang out among the tents.
One final time I shall say it! As your senior officer, I order you to depart the training grounds, or...
Or what, pray tell? You'll have me drop and give you 50?
What is the meaning of this?
Your Grace, I had thought to use this interval to drill the recruits, teach them...
To walk.
To maneuver, Gascon. A world of difference. In perfect harmony must soldiers traverse the field of battle. Otherwise, they could break formation. The enemy would penetrate our lines, and our army could be slaughtered.
And therein lies the rub, dear Rainard. Army. This is no army, but a band of partisans. If we do not adapt to the rules of desperation, if we adhere instead to the Academy Codex, we shall lose. Laying traps, wiping tracks, that's what we should teach the lads. Not marching to the beat.
All my eye! The fighting force must have discipline. Otherwise, tactics and planning are impossible. A soldier must obey orders.
A point on which we all agree. And since they are mine to give, I order you both to calm yourselves at once, and never air your squabbles in front of the men again. Our resources are limited. We cannot do everything at once. Prepare your proposed plans for training the recruits, and I shall decide which we shall follow. Clear? Then get to work.
Engineer Lieutenant Xavier Lemons, reporting for duty.
Medic! Send for a medic!
Lemons! What the devil's happened?
I know not. The East Tower. I led the defense. Heating oil to tan Nilfgaardian hides. The catapult struck. The cauldron tipped. Burst into flames. The rest, I cannot say.
The fortress fell.
Fell? Damned Scoia'tael.
What was that?
Our preparations were perfect. A month, 2 we could have lasted, but traitors were among us. Elves, dwarves. Planted charges on the buttresses. An explosion shook the tower, a hole gaped in the wall. Our men threw themselves in, filling the breach.
Vermin, filthy, rotten vermin.
I know you suffer, soldier, but Queen Maeve wishes to meet with your sovereign, Demavend. We must know what's become of him.
Gone, luckily. He oversaw the preparations, then returned to Aldersburg 3 days past.
Then let us do the same. Rainard, prepare our departure.
Hold your grace. Did anyone survive? Anyone at all?
The Nilfgaardians might have taken prisoners. There's hope.
How could they? An entire detachment? An entire city? The animals.
Soldier, my medics will tend to you as best they can. Then we can escort you home if...
This is my home, your grace. Rosberg, I beg you. Let me join your company. Let me exact revenge.
I respect your fighting spirit, good man. But in your state...
Your grace, I can hold neither shield nor sword, but I can still fight in my own way. I'm an engineer. I build siege towers, ballistae, bridges, whatever you wish. I pray, grant me a chance.
Such pain.
She. Speak.
Cadmil and Kedvagenvid, Renna. This place is of great import to us, the Enshe. I would tell you of its monuments, of the weeping Ensevern, carved by 3 generations of sculptors, or of the alabaster relief of King Kelad, so beautiful even the birds would gather to admire it. But I see your men have found our memorials, and in the way of Dwan, destroyed them without a second thought. I cannot say this comes as a surprise. You've already shown the gods molded you from the basest of matter.
Get to the point, Eldane.
So I shall. As you certainly know, the necropolis is surrounded. Soon there shall be a battle, but it is unseemly to fight in a cemetery. So I ask you to come out into the open.
And surrender our tactical advantage.
I suspected a matter so impractical as respecting the dead would mean nothing to you, Dwan. So I submit one more argument. The lives of the soldiers you sent to spy. If you leave the cemetery, I shall set them free. They will fight at your side. If not, I shall kill them. Here and now.
Milady, don't listen to him. He can't be trusted.
Rayla, those are good men. Fabian, Gerrit, Matthias, they've served me for a decade. They'd crawl through 7 hells for their queen. They do not deserve such a death.
I place a high value on my men's lives. Which is why I cannot risk my entire unit for a handful of soldiers.
Your Grace, please, consider.
I reject your offer, Eldane.
As you wish, Renna. Squash me.
In a swift, almost careless movement, Eldane slit the throat of the scout standing nearest to him, then gave the order to attack. After a long, bloody battle, Eldane's unit was destroyed, and Eldane himself sat at Maeve's feet, defeated and dying.
To die in a cemetery. Something amusing in it, wouldn't you say?
I am surprised you are in the mood for humor.
All my tears I shed years ago. My family, killed in a massacre aimed at eradicating our race. Senseless. Utterly senseless. Raina, we have lost. Me, my Scoia'tael, the Enshe. We shall vanish from this earth. Your grandchildren will know us in fairy tales only. Lay my bones to rest in a grave. Let me part this world with dignity. Ager Dregared.
Oh, please! How dare he? Look, he laughs, Your Grace! This dog should rot in an open field. Need I mention the willow? The men he strung from it? The men he burned alive?
Mercy you don't deserve, Eldane. I shall leave you where you lie, where rats will gnaw at your bones.
In your boots, I would do the same.
Vasse derad, ep again.
Niamh gave the order to march that very night, not waiting for the day to break. She wished to leave behind as soon as possible the moulderwood and the rotting elven remains littering Kedva Genvid Cemetery. Black Rayla rode at the head of the caravan to the Queen's right, a satisfied smile playing on her lips. Hold off their attack for so long.
What is your name, sorceress?
Isbel of Tretagor.
I take it you did not keep company with bandits willingly?
Not at all. They kidnapped me and forced me to aid them.
Forced? I do not understand. As a woman fluent in the arcana of magic, you could have freed yourself with little effort.
True, I could have. But I would have had to kill, and I swore never to use my talents to harm another.
Not even in self-defense?
Not even then.
Then you live in truly unfortunate times. War rages all around. You cannot hide from it.
So be it. Then I must entrust myself to the care of the gods.
Or a passing queen.
You stand before me, by divine right ruler of Lyria and Rivia. We seek the lord of these lands, Demavend.
Oh, forgive me for not recognizing you, Your Grace. You do not look like a ruler. More like a mercenary.
True, I wear no crown. It was stolen from me along with my country. I strive to reclaim what was taken, and admit the help of a sorceress would prove useful.
Thank you, my lady. But you must know, an army is no place for me.
Should you wish it not, you needn't fight. We have many civilians among our ranks who
do their part in the slaughter. Indirect guilt is enough.
My soldiers do not slaughter, they fight.
Lofty words, but the result is the same. Piles of corpses.
Well, a bandit I am not. I shall not force you. Rainard, prepare the men to march on.
Of course, but if I may, perhaps Xavier might have a look at the war machines we captured. He may find some parts of use.
Niamh followed Raynard's suggestion. Xavier went to work.
Yes, Your Grace.
Gods. What happened to him?
He was in Rosberg when the stronghold fell. Nearly burned alive.
How are you healing him?
The medics recommended regular poultices of dog's tallow, but whether they've any effect...
Of course they've no effect. For such wounds. How he must suffer.
In the day he reveals nothing. But at night one awakes to hear him sob with pain. You see? I need healers.
I shall go with you. But never shall I use magic to take a life. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, you have put it quite plain, and rather bluntly.
Forgive me, Your Grace. It has been long since I played the host. I forget the custom.
Your spells mean more to me than your manners. Welcome to our ranks, Isbel.
Isbel sat in one of their wagons and shut her tired eyes. Her long grey hair seemed to flutter ever so slightly, though there was neither wind nor breeze.
Here. We ought to speak.
Yes? Concerning what?
I've spent time with your troops, dressing their wounds, treating them. They respect you greatly, would follow you into any fire, any flood.
Happy to hear it. They're good folk, one and all.
Yes, precisely. In fact, too good to die in a senseless war.
Not certain I understand.
The Imperial army's enormous. Just how enormous we know, both. Had you all the Norse kings at your side, victory would still be unsure. Yet you fight alone. Know well you cannot rely on them.
Agreed. Nilfgaard's far better equipped and greatly outnumbers us. Yet, though try, they cannot be everywhere at once. They've stretched their forces thin, too thin. An error I aim to exploit.
You may be right. I hope you are. The lives of those you lead depend on it. You're proud, persistent, and sure of yourself. Just as I was at your age. It may work in your favor. Only time can tell. Meanwhile, how might I help?
You're no village witch, no healer. That much is clear. But nor do you look like our northern sorceresses.
I use no glamour, true. I've come to feel a body must age, and honestly so, as nature intended, as is the order of things.
You sound much like a druid drivelling on about balance, harmony, the good that is rot.
Rather poor, their reputation, druids. Yet they're in the right in this regard, I believe. Defy nature's laws, and nothing good can come of it.
Is that also why you wear no shoes?
No. I simply like to feel the grass between my toes, the sand, the mud. You must try it sometime.
I shall think on it. Thank you, Isbel. Duty calls. I must...
Clicked. A light flickered on, and before Meave's eyes appeared the outline of a Nilfgaardian general.
Speak common, please. I know not your tongue.
Oh, forgive me. I thought I spoke to someone else. Good to see you in good health, Queen. Or ex-Queen, I suppose, would be the more apt title.
Instead of fretting so much over my title, give yours.
Of course. Where are my manners? Duke Adel Ebdahi, Grand Chancellor, Commander of Army Group East. I believe you've heard of me.
Of course I have. You are the coward who, instead of facing me himself, employed traitors to do his bidding.
What you call cowardice, I call diplomacy. And you must admit this diplomacy has proven quite successful. First Lyria, then Rosberg, and southern Edern, all taken without any real losses.
Enjoy it while you can. Easy victories are short-lived.
Is that what you think? I'm afraid you're in for an unpleasant surprise.
Is that a threat?
No. A simple prediction. Enough of this. Why use this megascope? What is it you want?
I wanted to see the man who's butchering Edern. The man responsible for the deaths of thousands of women, elders and children.
Then your desire has been satisfied. It was I who gave the order to cleanse this land of unwanted elements, to prepare it for settlement, for...
Unwanted elements? Those are living folk you speak of.
If you were to look at this war in historical perspective, considering the wider geopolitical context, forget it. It's impossible for you to grasp. Farewell, Your Majesty. Or rather, till next time. For there will be a next time, I assure you.
A quiet fell over the tent. The Queen stepped outside, squinted her eyes against the glare of the burning fields, and swore to herself that when she did see Grand Chancellor Adel Ebdahi again, he would be a hope.
Gods have mercy. And demons take it all!
Taking advantage of the confusion, Meve maneuvered her troops to the very walls of the Old Town. Spying Lyrian banners, the defenders suspected a trap. But when they noticed Black Railer among them, they immediately lowered the drawbridge. The Old Town was a maze of brothels and shady taverns. In normal times, students and other pleasure seekers prowled its dark alleys. Now, tired soldiers slumped in every corner, though the Lyrians' arrival clearly buoyed their spirits. The Fraternal Realm's warriors clasped each other's hands and swapped tales. Even Eden's king, Demavend, made no secret of his pleasure at seeing these unexpected arrivals.
Me! Of all the besieged cities in all the world, you walk into mine. Come to the rescue, have you?
To be quite frank, I've come to be rescued.
Oh, yes. I've heard much of the events in Lyria. Disgraceful. Such betrayal. However, as you might have noticed, things are none too rosy here either.
Yes, that is hard to miss.
I thought we'd trade blows with the Blackclads. That it would be an even match. 2 weeks. That sufficed to annihilate the army I'd spent my whole lifetime building.
Your Majesty, I cannot say what fate will bring, if we shall reach this war's end alive. But I wish to say now that I admire you.
Oh?
You evacuated the city, yet refused to evacuate yourself. You fight to the bitter end, like a hero.
But of course. A king must lead by example, after all. Especially in war.
Rainard, that rumbling, you hear it? Studded boots on cobblestones. The Nilfgaardians. Prepare the men for battle.
Yes, Your Grace.
So, now that we're alone, what's really going on?
What? Did you not hear? I'm defending my capital, like a hero.
Demavend, please, don't feed me that drivel. We've known each other far too long. Why did you stay?
Meve. As meddling as you are beautiful. See that building? That one there?
The brothel? The Crimson Bodice?
Precisely. So, promise not to laugh. I'm a patron. A loyal one, in fact. One of the girls there, Demeretta. She's marvelous. Makes me feel young again.
A young fool, you mean? Demavend, there's a war on, and...
Allow me to finish. Demeretta became, well, with child. Exactly 9 months ago. Understand now?
She's entered confinement. Having contractions.
Since yesterday. You see, I cannot leave her like this. Can't have her moved. I must stay put until she gives birth.
And then what? Pray tell. Invite all of Nilfgaard to the christening?
No, my dear. There is a hidden tunnel deep beneath the city, leading far beyond its walls. Once the midwives cut the cord, we flee.
I understand. For one's child, one would do anything.
Odd, isn't it? Amusing, even. Midst of a war, my kingdom burning all around. And I'm happy.
In that case, I can only hope your offspring, unlike mine, will continue to.
Your Majesties, the Nilfgaardians are attacking.
Meve, we must hold out. A few hours, that's all.
I'll do what I can.
With their forces combined, the rulers managed to hold the Old Town long enough for Demeretta to bear the king's offspring, a healthy, hardy boy. When the midwife slapped the infant, his scream carried above the roar of battle. Soon afterwards, the defenders abandoned the walls and left the city through a secret tunnel. The Nilfgaardians, furious that not one but 2 northern sovereigns were among the escapees, razed Aldersburg to the ground.
Thank you. If not for you, the devils would have devoured us.
I should say it was nothing. But the truth is, I need your aid.
Aid? But you see, my army is no more. I must pull back, regroup.
Pull back? Where to? The golden sun flies over your entire realm.
To Redania, to take shelter at the court there.
And then? Will you sit and watch the fool juggle apples as Nilfgaard parcels all Edirn out to its settlers?
Meve, one must know when to fold and when to double down. Nilfgaard has stretched the front. Winter will soon be here. Let the costs claw away at them. A year, 2, then we strike. And we shall prove the Empire is a colossus with feet of clay.
Fine. Do as you see fit.
And you?
I can't live like that.
So what shall you do instead?
Fight on. Until I win. Or the black-clad curs tear me apart.
Gods, such pity I have for your husband. The poor man must have had a rough go of it.
He seemed content with his life while it lasted. Yet I'm serious, Demavend, in my request. You truly won't aid me. Provide nothing at all.
I will tell my men whoever so wishes can join your party and fight on. But please, curb your excitement. They are tired. Few will choose the path of greater resistance. But... Are you familiar with the saying, when at wit's end, a dwarf's your friend?
Yes, it and many others. Yet as much as I appreciate folk wisdom, I prefer facts to philosophy at the moment. Preferably facts relevant to my situation.
How about this? Mahakam is but a week's ride from here. And there you'll find thousands of dwarves armed to the teeth. Enough to turn the tides of this war, I venture.
Yes, they could. If not for another fact. That the dwarves have always been famously indifferent to strife between humans. They'll never come to my aid. Bah! I doubt they'll even let me into their land.
Unless you show them this. The leaden ring. A token of amity given to me by the Elder-in-Chief. That's not to say they'll welcome you with open arms. But they will hear you out. And that is something.
Dwarven infantry I'd make good use of. I shall do as you say. Or at least try.
Good. And to ease your journey somewhat, I'll give you as your guide the best man, or rather woman, for the task. Rayla!
Yes, Your Grace?
You've been to Mahakam with me many times. You know their paths. Take Queen Meve and her party there.
If it be your wish, my king, I shall obey.
I'll send messengers ahead that the dwarfs may expect your arrival. Until then, good luck, Meve. And may we one day waltz upon the grave of our foe, Emperor Emir.
May it be so. Just as long as I get to lead.
Ah, of course. Farewell, Queen.
Meve left Aldersburg in ill spirits. Rather than provide the help she had hoped for, Demavend had merely sent her on to Mahakam. Her way west was lit first by the glow of a burning city, then by the smouldering remains of charred villages by the roadside. It was clear the war against Nilfgaard had taken a bitter turn. Each stranger was now treated as an enemy, and the customarily hospitable Edirnians slammed their doors at anyone's approach. The party's morale was somber as well, and did not even improve with the first sight of mountains looming in the distance. Wandering among the ashes, Meve entered the dwarves' domain. Along perilously steep paths, Black Rayla led the Queen and company towards Mahakam, the dwarven homeland. There, among snow-capped peaks, someone awaited.
Rayla, you brought strangers.
Gabor, I present to you Meve, Queen of Illyria and Rivia.
Ah, a queen. Crivens. Well then.
A large shadow swept across the sky. The dwarf swallowed the rest of his greeting as all raised their gazes to see a dragon soar swiftly toward Mount Carbon.
Keltulus, dinna be afeard, he isn't a threat to us.
The dwarf had broken the silence gently, he himself quite familiar with this altogether unusual sight.
And now, sit yourselves down afore the pottage grows cold.
Aye. Oh, but... Flew. Drake?
Stone shriveling marvel, innit? Makes you almost sad the lizards are dying out.
Should you not worry more about the fate of your brethren? That creature will soon have all Mahakam aflame.
Ha! Keltalus? No! He's lived here centuries. Harmless for the most part. Now, your grace, a taste?
No, none. Though your offer of repast I value, good sir.
Oh, no need of that. Gabor, please. Enchanted to make your acquaintance.
Gabor here's a true local notable. From one of Mahakam's leading clans, the Zigrins. But then he wouldn't be our guide if he wasn't. A guide for all important guests.
A pleasure. And as I said, I thank you for your hospitality, but I've no time to feast now. I must speak to your ruler at once.
Don't mean no offence, but Elder-in-Chief Bruverhoog's a recluse of sorts, as humans go. Didn't even meet the ones that wear crowns. But I suppose I could. Meaning, if you drafted a letter...
Her Majesty's got Demoven's signet, given willingly.
Ah. Well, that's a sheep of a different sort. We didn't let many human folk into Mahakam, and for good reason. So those who we let come through the second gate get blindfolded. Just after they've surrendered their arms at the first, but you've the leaden ring. Given one of your kind to confirm trust and amity. So, we're certain we can treat you as one of our own. Elder-in-Chief's in the pass visiting. Looking to his flock. Come on. No reason you two shouldn't jabber right quick.
Though the Lyrian infantry rose half an ell taller than the dwarf, he moved with remarkable ease through the waist-high snow, while those behind him slipped and stumbled on the ice-slick rocks. Neve and Rayla trailed the party, so they might speak in private.
Rayla, your aid proved an unexpected bounty.
I received orders. I fulfilled them to their end.
My, I see. And what will you do now?
Our paths diverge, not more. I return home now, where new orders surely await.
Demovent has fled to the Redanian court, where he shall cower and not show his mug until spring has sprung. You know this. Would you not prefer to remain in my ranks? Fight the Black Ones bound at the hip?
No, Your Grace.
You have no love for me, do you?
We are not of the same stock, Your Grace, so it's hardly my place to...
Stock and place be ploughed. We must speak from our hearts. Two women, no enmity. Tell me why. I did something you could not abide.
It was what you did not do, rather. In Edern, you are far too lenient on those elves. As you are ever, prepared to forgive, extend clemency.
What would you have me do? Let you cleanse, rid the wood of all non-humans?
Wickedness demands wickedness. Blood calls for blood.
Very well, Rayla. Then go and drink of it if you must.
Lips pursed, eyes locked, Neve and Rayla took each other's measure a last time. The warrior then bowed in a manner some might think excessively courtly, turned on her heel, and rode off down a slope. Neve gazed after her until she disappeared behind a snowbank, then gave her mount a solid dose of her heels, and rode on, irked as a hare in a briar patch.
Your Grace, I've a message, for your eyes only.
Yes, Your Grace?
How go things, Rainard? You and Gascon get along now, I hope?
Well, you might say we've established a certain rapport, Your Grace.
Tell me more, friend.
I don't pry into his affairs, nor he into mine.
I'd prefer it if my commanders worked together more closely.
Your Grace, the man's a brigand.
Oh, Rainard. He was a brigand.
I must disagree, I fear. Yes, he stopped thieving for now, but only because it's convenient, so to speak. Gascon isn't a changed man. He still hasn't an ounce of honor, dignity.
Yet he has a unit of armed men, without which we'd be much worse off. Might not even have survived.
Agreed. The Strays are excellent fighters. I'd be the first to admit it. I only fear they might turn on us. Leap at our throats when we least expect it.
It's time I attended to other matters. Isbel?
Apologies. Thoughts consume me sometimes. Is there something you need?
Since we left Edirn, you've seemed unsettled. Is all in order?
I've seen many wars in my time. All ugly, all repulsive. But what the Imperials did at Aldersburg was... it was unforgivable.
Nilfgaard. That's what it does, Isbel. They seek here to repeat the rape of Sintra, the slaughter there.
Yes, I saw that. I was there. And at Sodden.
Then you know of what they're capable?
After Sodden, I took an oath never to take part in another war. Such suffering, such hatred, senseless, all those deaths.
Senseless deaths? Our troops sacrificed their lives in defense of their homeland, loved ones.
I believe, I must believe there's a better way. Forgive me, Mum. I must gather my thoughts. Never mind about me, though. I shall perform my duties to my utmost, as ever, as always.
You speak with my soldiers a good deal. Said so yourself. I'd like to know what about.
Corporal Larkin, Ma'am. Do you know him? Captain Oisin, perhaps? Or Lieutenant Tegan?
Of course I know them. Among my best. They've served me loyally for years.
You know them. But did you know that in fleeing Lyria, the corporal left behind a newborn daughter? His wife was in confinement when you gave the order to march. The corporal could not go to see them. And true, the captain has no wife, no child. But he's not seen his brother in 5 years. Never once been granted leave. Your General Odo's orders always taking precedence.
Allow me to guess. You shall now tell me Tegan abandoned his sick mother to follow me.
No, ma'am. Count Caldwell's men murdered the lieutenant's kin. Retaliation for his joining your rebellion. He learned of this just recently.
Enough. You've made your point. Yet even were I to order them to return, they wouldn't listen. They know they've got nothing to go home to while Nilfgaard occupies our land. Duty calls. I must go.
Of course. Should you need me, I'll be here.
Hey-ho! How's my favourite queen in the north?
You and Rainard, do you get along?
Like a cat and a hound. Get it? 'Cause they call me...
Yes, yes, your jests are easily understood. Far more difficult to enjoy.
That's probably true, in your royal high and mightiness's case.
Will you answer my question?
We get along because we must. Though it'd be far easier if he pulled the lance from his arse.
Haven't heard a truer word in a long while.
What was that?
Nothing. Nothing. It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell.
Your Grace, I need to speak with your quartermaster. Excuse my Elvish, but I can't drink that goat's piss he serves in the mess.
Raynard's doing, no doubt. He doesn't like the men to drink too much.
To be blunt, ma'am, what Rainard himself needs is to get good and bloated for once in his stiff life. So, I have a proposal for you. A shipment of the best Dwarven mead and lager. I can arrange for you to arrive. Trust me, the men's morale's nae like to be a problem when they pour a bit of fire in their guts.
Good point. Very well.
Oh, you've my thanks, dear Queen. A few more days of that and I'd have been lapping up puddle water.
I trust you'll arrange the details.
Of course, no worries. You dinna ken how happy a dwarf you've made me. Ah, right. And the men too, of course.
You're a Zigrin, are you not? I know the name. One of your clan slew the dragon Ockvist.
Aye. You're thinking of Yarpen. Cousin of my cousin. Left Mahakam when I was but a wee snot. Decent enough dwarf, but never could conform to our basic tenets and laws. Though, admittedly, we've so damn many it's hard to keep them from leaking out your ears.
Is it that bad?
I'll put it this way. Among human folk, you can't steal, brawl, murder. All the basics. In Mahakam, we've got laws about how to braid our beards. But I'm no one to complain. The Zilgrins are well-to-do, one of the richer clans. Got more than enough goods to suit our needs. Though, we've got some bads as well.
What do you mean?
Bah! Nae worth your time. I didn't mean to bother you. Sides, best to jabber of such things over a cold pint. Or keg?
Your elder. I'd like to know more. Do tell me about him, please.
One tough horseman, Brewer. Stubborn as an old goat, as you'll soon see for yourself. All in all, though, he's nae as scary as some say. Been keeping the clans in check for some 2 centuries now. Which is nae a small feat, I might add, no.
No conflicts between them all this time. Are you certain?
Ha! Ha! I can't tell if you're jesting. At each other's throats each day they are. Breckenrigs despise the Chives. Dalbergs and scratch out the Hoog's eyes given half the chance. As for us, we hate them arse-licking fuchses. But Brewer's got his ways, keeps each yen in line. If not for him, Mahakam would have fallen to bits ages past.
Why?
Round 150 years ago, when the elves were fighting that hopeless war against your folk, the Elder-in-Chief ordered the pass to Mahakam sealed tight. If it weren't for that, we'd have ended up like the pointy ears. As it was, we waited for the shite storm to abate. Didn't open the pass and stretch your legs again till it were safe.
Yes, I remember. The manufacturers in Rivia have yet to recover.
With all due respect, Your Grace, your workshops forge utter crap. It's nae our fault that human folk prefer Dwarven goods. Basic market principles, that's all it is.
I feel enlightened, Gabor. Thank you. We shall return to this conversation.
No skin off, ma'am.
Yes, milady?
You choose not to follow your king, Xavier. Why?
To fight in the field, with you. This was my wish, my lady.
But what of your home? Rosberg must be rebuilt. Engineers are needed.
I've no kin in Rosberg. No soul left for me there. All I've left is revenge.
I understand. Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish.
As the wails of speared Shaelmars died down, the crowd of Mahakaman infantry parted. A dwarf stepped forth, grey as a snowfox, wrinkled as a prune. He walked with difficulty, supporting himself on a battle-axe, its 2 heads dripping blood.
This would be our Elder-in-Chief, Brewer Hoog.
And who might your guests be, Gabor?
Maeve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, and her associates in court.
My regards, Elder. I come...
You come for something. Coin's my first wager. Fighting bodies my second. Well, what is it you want? I'm on in the years, aye, but I'm not gone dotty. Tja, you menfolk. You got to fall on hard times to remember us dwarves.
I've come with a design in mind, I cannot deny. But hear me out and you shall see.
She's armed! Gabor! Why the devil did you let her in here like that? and without a sack or her heat.
She has the leaden ring, Elder.
A gift from a king.
From Demavend, lassie, I ken that already. Trust a man, give him something of value, and he'll go and give it away as easy as a street whore gives away nubs. It's a good thing he didn't pawn it. Sons of humans.
I've travelled far to see you. Hear me out, I beg you.
Let it be my loss. Go on, heave her away.
Nilfgaard has overrun my realms. It has overrun Edirn. The Blackclads are at the foot of Mahakam. They will seek to overrun your land sooner or later as well. We must act. We must react together, while there is still time.
Time? What do you ken of time, lass? Got how many summers to you? 40, maybe? Had you grown up amongst dwarven folk, at your age you'd be learning to crochet dolls. No more than that. I've seen 400 summers come and go. And I've been elder for 200. And you know what I've learned in that time? That meddling in your idiot scraps doesn't ever bring any good. Now, on a normal day, I'd have you all thrown clear out of this land I love. But you've the leaden ring, and that grants you the right to hospitality. And here, in Mahakam, laws and rights are sacred. You may stay in the pass long as you wish. Young Zigrin'll serve as your guide. And once you've tired of the mountains, well, you ken the way down into the valleys. I bid you farewell.
My Lord Elder, with all due respect, we came to your aid. We smote the beasts with you, yet...
And who the demons is this one?
Count Rainard Odo.
Ho-ho! Odo, Lodo, Bodo! Now, you listen and listen well. We didn't ask for aid, and you know why? 'Cause I've my dignity. Not like some. Mates and wenches! Spring cleaning's done, beast culling's over. Mount Carbon beckons us home. Follow me!
Your Grace, be not dismayed. We will find a way.
Manage we shall, true. Though damned if I know how. We have none other to whom we can turn, no other land where we can flee.
Let us convene in council, Your Grace. Consider together what's to be done. We've yet Redania, Temeria...
Your Grace, might I draw you aside a wee moment, for a jabber?
Rainard, please excuse me. Well? What is it you want?
I ken the Elder-in-Chief dinna make a good first impression.
And the second? Is it any better?
To be quite frank, no. I'll try elsewise. Not all's lost, trust me. Brewer's a stubborn goat, no doubt about it. But a goat to be persuaded. And I happen to ken how.
The selfless impulse to help? I don't believe it exists. So before you describe how you aim to aid me, be kind enough to explain why you wish to do so. Unsolicited, mind you, and clearly against your elder's wishes.
A query of my own to answer yours. Do you ken when Brewer Hoog last strode down the mountains into your lowlands?
I know not. While King Sambuk sat on the throne?
Point of fact, never. Hoog was born here and he'll die here, like most Mahakam dwarves. Whereas I'm a frequent visitor in your human lands. Been an emissary to royal courts, trade guilds, mummers' troops, and I've eyes. I can see all the rubbish goes on between yous. Nilfgaard's insatiable. The Blackclads will not stop till they've put the whole continent neath their boot. From Ophir in the south to the Dragon Mountains in the north. Gods forbid they grip all the Nordlings' realms in their vice. 'Cause then we'll have their hordes all round, controlling all the trade routes, supply lines, diversions even. And then they'll control terms and prices. We dwarves have never been on a lead, let alone a short one. So, in short, we'll all be better off with the black clads back across the Yaruga. And I've seen your grace. Seen you in battle. You've brawn and bite, and with the right support, you can drive them back. I ken that well.
Very well, I'm all ears. What must we do to spur Bruverhoog to aid us?
I might start with the thorn in our side that are beasts. A bigger thorn than most expect. See, in our never-ending search for gold, we dug deep, too deep, and reached abysses where monsters are born, or however they come to be. Soon as it turns a bit warmer, they crawl out to feed. And there's more every year. What you saw there, the spring cleaning, that's just light yearly upkeep. It dinna go at the source of the blight. Every spring we cull enough so we can live and trade and mine normal-like. But there are corridors in the upper valleys midst the peaks, where more lie waiting to pounce. So many, there's settlements that have done been abandoned.
I still fail to see how this relates to myself and Bruver.
Your Majesty, slay the beasts down to their last, and you'll win the hearts of the clans. All of them. And with the clans behind you, why, the Elder will have no choice. He'll bend an ear, treat you serious. You got two sites through which beasts swarm in great numbers. There's Davor's Abyss, and an abandoned underground settlement called Burr's Rump. Destroy those, collapse the corridors, problem solved.
And this, 'twould suffice.
I believe it would. But find you other ways to win the heart of a clan or Bruver itself. Do so. Can he bring no harm?
All this sounds rather toilsome, yet I do favour this to losing another moon seeking out a court where we would at first be welcomed, only later to hear another rebuke.
Perished, either to the dragon's all-consuming fire, or to its flesh-rending claws. Yet their sacrifice was not in vain. Together with the dwarves, they were able to grievously wound Celtulis, forcing him to flee. The howls of the wounded monster rang throughout the valley.
That's right, howl, you scurvy snake! Shouldn't they ever attacked us, eh? Damn fuel lizard!
Meave, that's Vavranek, Elder of the town and all the Ferences.
My regards, and condolences.
Eh, tain't so bad. If nae for ye, wouldn't there be a stone left unrubbled? To be honest, when I caught wind some human queen come to Mahakam looking for aid, I said a crocus would sprout twixt my cheeks afore I'd vote aye on that. Gonna be a fear to look in my breeches after, but changed my mind. After what I saw today, what ye did for us, you've the support and undying gratitude of all Ferences.
Thank you. Faced with a Nilfgaardian peril, that means a great deal.
Forgive me for interrupting this tear-tugging scene of interracial reconciliation, but I can't hold back no longer. Vavranek, double shice, what happened? Why'd Celtulis attack?
I ken as much as ye. Meaning, squat diddly. Just flew up, started spewing flames, half the town lit up in a flash.
Sheepshank. 300 years I've been a good neighbour.
What's done's done. Gotta think about the future. The Drake's just taking a breather. Gotta finish him off for he's regained form.
Meaning, we haven't much time. He heals like an alchemist's pup. And the nearest guards are miles away. He'll be up flying again before they get here.
Aye, that's what I thought. Perhaps, your grace, you'd,
What? Jest you must.
I ken you're tired frae the fight, dinna want to risk casualties, etc. But remember, the beast sleeping on a bed of gold and rubies. All belonging by right to Bruver, of course. But if quibbling some wandered off, he'd nae notice.
I admit that does alter my calculations. Besides, the dragon was badly wounded.
Putting it featherly, blood poured out of him like a leaky bladder. Just needs a coup de grace.
Fine. I'll do the deed.
Ken you'd see the light.
Oi, Vavrenek, Vavrenek. This lady's gonna make your rump a regular crocus garden.
Aye. Queen's doing us a great service. One that'll profit us both.
So, where is Keltulus's lair?
North of here. It's a vast cavern. Ye cannae miss it.
Meve bid farewell to Vavrenek and set out on her way. Did her way lead to the dragon's lair, you ask?
You're not allowed! Hey, damn it! What do you think you're doing?
I think it's obvious. Preventing the execution.
Thanks be to the gods! Whoa, wench, you've no such right. Judgment's been handed down. Sentencing's done.
Yes, and a cruel sentence it is. One that prompts me to wonder what the accused did to deserve it.
Better to ask what he didn't do, the varmint. Arrived here with his peddler's wagon full of tricks and gadgets. Went from house to house, praised his rubbish to the high heavens. And what's it he sold us? Bombs that go off in your hand. Beer growth formula that makes your hair catch fire. Music boxes for the kiddies. Once cranked, they never plough in stop.
You needed but to loosen the screw in the back and...
Shut your maw, ye roaster. Doesn't it matter all that? 'Cause we'd have forgiven it if he hadn't broken our sacred rules and hallowed customs. Which ones, if you don't mind me asking? Enter the smithy, cap on his head, held nails between his teeth, and poured fruit syrup in his beer. Raspberry. Blech.
Just the once, and but a few drops.
You got nothing to explain your villainy, scoundrel. Not a thing. And that's not even the worst. Saved his highest crime for the end. He was in a mine. And he whistled. Ooh. Oh, aye, that's bad. Shouldn't have done that. Aye, he did. Whistled. Through his teeth. And hummed in harmony, a long warble. We all heard it up and down the shaft, and our grand elders were clear. Death's the punishment. Death by barrel roll.
Your land, your laws, I shall not argue with them. But perhaps there is another way. Can a bail be posted?
Well, the law does allow for something of the sort. But I don't see how that job is worth it.
Oh, aye. He is. He is.
Willing I am to take him at his word. Does that suffice?
Aye. But just so's we're clear. No returns, no refunds. Now get the hell out of that barrel, you wee shite.
My lady, I haven't a way to thank you.
That we've yet to discuss. Perhaps first we should learn each other's names?
Aye, yes, of course. What a prat of me. Barnabas. Barnabas Beckenbauer. To friends, Bibi.
Meve. Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Queen? Cows in the corn, colour me honoured. Your Majesty, obeisance due.
None necessary. Protocols for use at court, not beyond it. An inventor, you deem yourself. Am I right?
Most assuredly. Though, truth be told, the dwarves saw no ingenuity in my craft. Seems I'm ahead of my time.
Fiery bursts in the palm of your hand. They shall be in fashion one day, to your mind.
Oh, nay, just a bit of misfortune, that's all that was. You see, I mistook mercury fulminate for saltpeter. The vials stood beside each other, see, and...
The details I need not know. But one matter I am curious about. Could you construct a bomb that would explode when desired? For instance, beneath my foe's feet as they stepped over it.
Of course I can. It's simple.
Why then? You wish to show your gratitude? You must join my ranks. Assist me to defeat Nilfgaard.
Defeat Nilfgaard? Pure ambition, that is. But I'd have been a barrel of broken bones at the bottom of a ravine, if not for you. I'll do what you ask to pay off my debt. Your Majesty,
Allow me once again to express my undying gratitude.
You're most welcome, Barnabas, but please, we haven't need for any formalities when speaking alone.
Well, of course. How might I help you then?
I like to know... No, I must know who I travel with. Please do tell me about yourself.
About me? I've most civil relations with dwarves, as you saw. But is there anything in particular you'd like to know?
Why not start at the beginning? Tell me where you hail from, perhaps.
Oh, right. I was born in the distant south, in Tir Tokhair. My mother was a washerwife, my father, an armourer. Soon as I'd passed 40 winters and could strike out on my own, I left the family, my native parts. So I've been on the road now about, 20-odd years.
Indeed. A rather long while. Did the south simply not suit you?
Oh, I wouldn't say that exactly. It's just staying would have meant stepping into my father's shoes. Then forging blade after blade, plate after plate. Oh, just thinking on it sets my head a-spinning. Not for me, that, no. No, nature. The world so rich in mysteries, in wonders left to discover, and ways to make it a better place.
By building bombs that explode in the hand, for instance.
As those bearded fellas say, Mahakam wasn't built in a day. Besides, nobody was seriously hurt by those malfunctions. Not many, at any rate.
At the moment, have you any invention you've worked on? One that's near complete?
Oh, so kind. Oh, wonderful, you should ask. See, I've ever had an avian fascination. For birds, you see. Their wings, bones. The structure's perfect. The aerodynamicism, the plumage. In short, I believe I can fly.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, I'm learning to fly. Fly. You've not misheard. I, Barnabas Beckenbauer, will be the first gnome... what am I saying? The first mammal to free himself of the soil's bondage and soar to the clouds.
But aren't bats also...
A detail. This is no time to be petty. No, but frankly, my preparations are far advanced, and I'm rather optimistic about my design and prospects. I've calculated every trajectory, every force. It all works out. Just need to do a few more field tests.
Did you have volunteers try it, or did you test the design yourself?
Naturally, I must stay on the ground. Who take all the measurements elsewise. Luckily, there's no lack of thrill-seekers in Mahakam. Most eager to etch themselves into the annals. My first prototype, the Skylicker, I dubbed it. Oh, your majesty, if you'd only seen the beauty. Flew over 120 ells.
Truly? Colour me impressed indeed. He must have made quite the name for himself, your brave volunteer. I'm certain he's caught the eye of every she-dwarf in Mahakam since.
Oh no, he's dead. The landing, it was rough. And then a bear sauntered by, didn't help any. Anyhow, as he died, the dwarf swore he regretted nothing. Brave lad. A bit daft, though.
What's this bloody crap? Tokens of some sort?
Aye, that's right. Holy Guldens, we call them. They're, currency in Mahakam. Get our wages in them. Use them to cop victuals and hooch.
What of arms, armour, tools?
Nah. Oh, that's given to us. Clan provides it. Is that what you need? Weapons? Oh, feel the agent now. Brought you here for no reason.
Yet these tokens, they can be exchanged for other coin, can they not? Temerian orans or Novigrad crowns?
Aye. Doable in theory, but not at all clever. Rates are crap. See, the elders keep them low to make life difficult for dwarven folk. Discourage them from leaving Mahakam.
What's this? Common dwarves use no gold? You cannot be serious.
Yet I am. What good's gold to them? Clan gives them all they need. and victuals and hooch beyond need they get for tokens.
Yet you trade with humans. Gold coin you take for your goods, the coin must serve a purpose. What is it?
We hoard it all. In vaults. Great piles. Down bottom lie ducats dating from the reign of that dozy ham-shanker King Dagrid.
And you do not put it to use? Acquire anything for it? Then it's true what folks say, that you love gold too much to part with it. Hoard it for pleasure, as dragons do.
Point of fact, that there's pure drivel. Gold's a metal like any other, just yellow. We hoard it for our safety.
Your safety? I fear again, I simply don't follow.
Couldn't it be simpler? Soon as human folk get it in their heads we's a thorn in their side, we'll spend it. All of it, in a jiffy. Excess coin supply, that's called. Matter of days, gold'll be worth less than sawdust. And you're tossing banks and economies, bam, on their arses. There'll be nothing left of them. They'll cave in faster than a mine shaft with rotten props. Why are you all ogling me? With human folk for neighbours, we dwarves got to be damn vigilant, as sheep round wolves.
So how can these tokens serve me?
We must trade them. Even should we get a pittance, it will be something. The soldiers demand their pay.
Ach, your bums out the windy. Fighting men want full dixies and tankards of hooch. Coins but a means to that end.
What do you suggest then?
As I've been saying, the tokens we use to purchase nourishment and mead, and what you've got in those chests, why, that'll do to fund a feast the likes of which Mahakam's not seen since Brewer was sworn in as Elder-in-Chief. The fighting men'll eat and drink their fill, carouse about and forget their due and pay right quick. And invite the local dwarves to feast with you, and the clans'll look kinder on you too.
Caution be damned.
Your Grace, I feel obliged to remind you we are at war with Nilfgaard, and every copper...
Should go to building our army, I know. But we live but once, Rainard. Sir Gabor, take the tokens, and arrange me a feast so grand...
The sound of approaching hoofbeats made Meave turn to see Rainard spurring on his panting horse, galloping at a breakneck speed towards her.
Ill tidings I bring, Your Grace.
Clearly. Glad tidings never arrive with such urgency.
Our scouts captured a Nilfgaardian messenger. He was traveling in disguise, and by night. When he realized his capture was imminent, he strove to destroy the letters he carried. We were able to salvage some, in parts.
Anything of interest?
Yes, there is, I fear. Your Majesty, you must listen. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meave and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. Hail Keritsa.
A traitor. We might have expected as much. Nilfgaard has shown amply that it abides only by the rules it sets. Since they have not proved able to defeat me in the field, in open battle, they seek other means. I suppose the scroll bears no name.
It does not, Your Grace.
The messenger. Have you questioned him?
Naturally, Your Grace. Alas, he knows not to whom the letter is directed. He was to leave it in an agreed spot.
I take it tidings of the whole affair have spread throughout the force?
Yes, Your Majesty. The witnesses were too many to keep this fact a secret.
We must thus assume the traitor in our ranks knows it as well, and will make no attempt to retrieve the scroll. A dead end. Have we any other leads or clues?
None, I fear, Your Majesty. We must be alert. Keep a keen eye on events as they unfold, and exercise great caution in forging new acquaintances.
Very well. Eyes wide open, all senses attuned. Yours in particular, Rainard.
Of course,
Meave wiped her cheek. Her tears burned her frozen skin. Gabor spoke a while with the leader of the Mahakam guard patrol that had come to their rescue. His face was dour.
What? What have you learned?
I tell you all in good time. First, you need a warm drink, good victuals.
No, Gabor. I need to find out what in blazes happened here.
Well, it was an avalanche.
Of course it was an avalanche. I'm no fool. But what caused it? What was that noise?
Signal horns. Ours.
So you brought this snow down on us? Dwarves!
Well, aye, but, unawares.
I'm extremely curious how one sounds a horn without being aware of it. That must be quite a sight.
Maeve, let me explain.
I will. And the explanation better not sound like a clumsy excuse.
See, we clean our mount regularly. The way menfolk shovel snow off their roofs. Otherwise, the whole shebang would come tumbling down on our heads. When snow's gathered deep enough, we blast our horns to cause a controlled avalanche. Then we need to, sweep up a wee bit and the road's safe.
All well and good, but why did you decide to clean up right as I was passing through?
Wondering that myself. Schedule says next cleaning should have been a week from now. But someone asked the route to be cleared earlier.
Who?
Maeve, I'll tell you. But first, promise you'll...
Who?
Hey. Owain ep Clenvog, the Nilfgaardian emissary. Must have found out you'd be going through.
The bastard. Rainard! Rainard!
Wait! I understand you're a wee bit upset, you've every right. But you'll never prove Owain meant you harm. The sly weasel will make sure he didn't dirty his own paws.
I've no such scruples. I'll find him and kill him.
And then? How'd you tell that tale to Bruven? Maeve, you're justly taught, but for the love, just this once, let it go. Or you'll leave Mahakam with me a scrap to show for it.
Moments later, scouts reported Owain was camped to the north of the... hired to her tent to freshen up. Gascon was already inside, awaiting her.
I do not seem to recall summoning you.
In that case, I must tell you to fret not. Nothing wrong with your memory. I've come with no agenda. Spontaneously, call it, to chat.
Then I propose you leave. Just as spontaneously, call it. I must don fresh clothes. I'm to see the Elder soon, and I'd prefer to not smell of horse sweat.
Doubt it'd make much difference to him. And be assured, I know what I speak of. When last we met, I found myself standing downwind of him. A pungent experience.
Well, you were saved the experience of his breath. So pungent I thought I might faint.
Well, to revive you, pinch you awake, I'm sure would be quite a pleasure.
Gascon, I beg your pardon. Ugh, I shall have nightmares now.
Not tonight. For I fear you might not sleep at all. You see, there's something you ought to know. And decidedly before you meet with Bruver. The sites we cleared of beasts. I ferreted a bit. Noted something peculiar. Any notion what it was?
None. The monumental Dwarven architecture, perhaps?
Bones, my dear Maeve. Dwarven bones. Now, guess what I found on them?
Wait, don't dare give me any hints. Bite mark.
Of course. After all, they'd been gnawed clean of all flesh by monsters. Incidentally making it quite easy to spot other markings. Ones made by axes and swords. To be certain, I showed the bones to our medics, and they confirmed my conclusion.
Meaning what? That the entire clan, the Fuchses,
did not perish due to an invasion of beasts from the depths. The monsters merely ate the bodies and occupied empty homes. Now, I shared my discovery with Gabor, and guess what he did? He panicked. He started to squirm, babble nonsense. I wager my right arm, he's hiding something.
Blast. Overly eager to aid us from the start he was. I might have sent something. I shall have him summoned at once. And I thank you, Gascon. I won't forget this.
Minutes later, Gabor stood before the Queen. At first, he tried to mislead her with evasive answers, but as her pointed questions demolished one clumsy excuse after another, he had to give in.
Oi. As King Desmond said after a hefty squirt in his hose, we can't sweep this under the rug.
If you think I welcome jests in this moment, you err. My fingers itch to summon the hangman.
Right. So... 'tis true. I misled you. On our clan elder's orders, supposed to make sure you destroyed Burr's Rump and Davor's Abyss thoroughly enough to leave nae a trace.
What? Why? What did they wish to hide?
They was home to the Fuchses, our mortal enemies. They'd been a-boiling our heinies for ages, thumbing their noses, taking what they want when they want, and the Elder-in-Chief didn't gie a ploughing whit. So to stop them, our clan, we did the unpardonable. The Ziggurat elders saw their chance and they...
Gods. So you were responsible for the deaths of all those dwarves?
Me? I didn't raise a finger. Tried to stop them, in fact.
No witnesses survived, meaning you must have murdered the entire clan. How?
Queen, you sure you...
I am. And you should be sure to answer in full, omitting no detail.
A few years back, we got pummeled by a horrendous winter. Stone-breaking frosts, white-out storms, avalanches. Made travelling a painful form of suicide. Hunger drove beasts out of their dens. Pass was covered in the filth. Got to where they paced right outside the walls. Fuchses fought a hard, bloody fight to keep the critters out of Davar's abyss. Lost near every axe-wielding dwarf they had. Only survivors had to winter at Burr's Rump. Our elders felt such an opportunity wouldn't knock again. After killing the town's meagre guard, they set fire to it and barricaded the gates. They didn't stand a chance.
Bastards. How in the world did the truth go undiscovered?
Once it were over, our dwarves opened the gates. Before they'd lit their pipes, starving beasts came crawling out of the pass. The stank of dead flesh were strong. Zigrans who came back from that never were the same. If you'd only gandered their gaze when they had us all take a vow of silence. And then...
You invented that blarney about primeval monstrosities the Fuchses had awoken by mining too deep. A riveting tale, and one with a moral to boot.
Aye. But the elders worried Brewer would suspect something all the same. That's why they wanted you to destroy all the evidence.
Repugnant. You claim not to have taken part, but neither did you do anything to stop the massacre.
What was I to do exactly? The elders had decided. No dwarf would listen to me.
You might have informed the Elder-in-Chief. The guilty would have been punished.
The guilty? You didn't ken Brewer. He'd punish the whole clan. Women, children, no exceptions. Maeve, Queen. I'm begging you. You cannot ever learn of this. Aye, I want a hack flame too when I think what the Elder's done. But t'other way it'd bring but more pain and death.
I need to consider what's right. Meanwhile, Gascon, make sure Gabor remains our guest.
Of course. I'll let you know if he so much as rolls his eyes towards an escape route.
Eve glared at her. She did not avert her eyes.
What is your name, elf?
Abayeth Me'eparstwan.
She said,
Thank you, Rainard. I know well what she said. Kiss my arse, is that truly the best you can muster?
I'd rather show you exactly what I can muster. Tell them to unbind me.
You got your opportunity. On the battlefield. Will you not tell me what they call you? Fine. It's all the same to me. I'm more interested to know how you came to be here. Who sent you?
No one. It was my decision to kill you, and thus avenge Eldain. Do you remember him? The elf whom you denied a burial? Whom you left in an open field to rot? You've elven blood on your hands. The blood of the elves of the Moulderwood.
I regret the events of the Moulderwood. I did not wish those elves' deaths. Yet they left me no choice.
What choice would you give a murderer who invaded your home?
You know I envy you. To see the world solely as black or white, it must simplify things so. Enough. I've heard all I wish to hear.
But I haven't. Did you fall on your heed, elf, eh? If you want to fight humans, go on and do it. You cannot talk sense to idiots and nae here, damn it. Mahakam is and will be neutral.
You cannot be neutral. To Dwarven, you are either their foe or their dog. Mahakam has stood aside, sleeping long enough. That is why we struck it in its very heart, as a call to battle. A call to brethren whom you, Elder, have kept from the world too long.
I have kept him away. I've been bloody right to do so. You want to play at war, you numpties? You want to force the Pontar to flow upstream? Gang right ahead. Good riddance, I say. Gan kill, gan die if you fancy. But God's damn it, leave us alone. Yeah, I should kill you. With my own hands. I should cut your throat, put you out of your misery. That's what you want, innit? To die? To die a stupid death? Well, I'll not grant you that. Nay, nay, I'll lock you in a tower. Sit there 3 centuries, and you just might grow a brain.
Bruva Hoog gazed after the shackled elf as she was led away. Neve expected him to continue fuming, cursing her. But the dwarf stood silent, and his old eyes, half concealed by brows bushy as a forest floor, showed not anger, but the deepest sadness. Dwarven engineers made quick work of repairing the crumbled bridge span. The Lyrians stepped inside
I thank you for your invitation, Elder.
My invitation? Choice term, lass. You wangled your way in here. Long I've lived, but ne'er have I seen a wench so stubborn.
With all due respect, do you not feel like a pot conversing with a kettle?
Ha! True enough. Changes of mind didn't come easy to me. But they do come at times. Human wars concern me not at all. For so many they are, who could count them? Near a year goes by without one wanking king invading another's realm. A dog with scabies is less restless. That's why, this morning, I aimed to send you off with nothing. Mattered not what the clans were saying. Rivia, Schmivia, who gives a sheep's fart? But that was this morn, before that daft wench and her pups attacked. Nilfgaard supports the Scoia'tael, it's common knowledge. Nilfgaard uses them. Well, I'm nae worse, and I choose to use Queen Meve.
So what use would you make of me, if I might ask? You've a plan?
Aye, the kind dwarves like best. Simple, but sneaky. Like to give Nilfgaard a warning, you ken. If you're going to rile my dwarves, throw 'em into the Scoia'tael ranks. You'll regret it, aye? But I'd like to issue the warning without declaring war. All clear to you so far? So, when you march out of Mahakam, you'll find a company of our foot dwarves waiting out with the gate. Officially, volunteers enlisting with you against my will. And you're to put them at the fore next time you face Nilfgaard. Want the Blackclads to break their teeth on our bucklers, get a taste of our axe blades. After that, dare say they'll think twice before they send more Scoia'tael into these hells.
I do not... Thank you, Elder. You restore my hope that I shall have my home back in the end.
A week back I'd have laughed you down the mountain. At last you're a plucky wench. And with summit in that head of yours. To talk so many clans over to your side's dead easy. Who kens? You just might.
I shall. You will see. Before the year is up. You've my word.
Reaching for the stars. You shan't get there without resources. I'll see to it you want for nought.
I shall be in your debt to my dying day.
Meaning what? For another 15 years? Tid a bother.
I would like to march at once. So by your leave...
Nay, not granted. At once? What's that mean? Our laws are clear. Guests are to be sent off with a thundering feast. Even the humans.
Bruva, as was Bruva's wont, insisted. So the Queen accepted the invitation, but as was her wont, set a condition. The feast was to last but one night, and not, as was the wont of local custom, an entire week.
Meve, you expecting anyone?
How's that?
Runner says a delegation's arrived at Carmen. Freiliria and Rivia. Got a Nilfgaardian escort.
How dare they? Traitors. Who leads it?
You'd best sit.
Who leads the delegation?
It's your son, Willem, I fear.
Willem?
Mahakam remains neutral as regards all your squabbles. I trust I needn't remind you. So I'll have no scrambling or shoving, and certainly no bloodshed. Point of fact, I'd prefer it if you...
I wish to speak to him.
I'd forbid you, but, as I said, never seen a more stubborn wench. Alrighty then, jabber away with him. Just remember, hands to yourself.
Meve spotted banners, a Lyrian eagle upon one surrounded by Nilfgaard's black rags. Her hands became fists, showing how helpless she felt. Then her son and rival, Willem, emerged from behind a row of Imperial footmen.
My. I should apologize. It seems I missed the coronation. Congratulations, my son. Who was it who placed the crown? General Epdahi?
Count Caldwell.
Ah, yes. Our elder statesman. Why have you come here, of all places? To acquire arms for Nilfgaard?
As my official mission, yes. Yet unofficially, I wish to speak with you. I trust you've had tidings from the field. Edirn turned to ash and dust. Vizimir murdered Redania in chaos. Foltest forced to strike a pact by his vassals betrayed, Henselt the same.
This limerick, will it come to a point?
Why, yes. To the same as this war. Mother, I beg you, you must see it. Nilfgaard's victory is inevitable. Surrender now, and I shall show you mercy. For later it'll be too late.
There will be no later. We shall repel them, drive them south at the points of our pikes.
This we, Mother? Who precisely do you mean? You stand alone.
An impression many might have indeed. Yet I've allies. Those long loyal, and those new.
Where, Mother? In Zerrikania? For here, in the north, why, there are none. The fight is done.
Your friends from Nilfgaard will learn that is simply not true. When their ignorance bites them in the arse.
So you aim to persist? Whatever for?
For our freedom. For independence.
Curious. I could have sworn it was for your ambition. To soothe your wounded pride. When I was crowned, a fact you deride, though that makes it no less true, I swore the good of my subjects would guide me. And a war we are doomed to lose cannot in any way benefit them.
And slavery can. You know well the Blackclads put peasants in chains, like cattle.
Reprehensible, I agree, but...
And resettlement? Forced labor? Cruel laws that make death the punishment for the slightest offenses? Are those benefits? Well, answer me!
I see I will not sway you, Mother. A shame, though I take comfort in the fact I tried. And now, adieu.
Oh no, I, not you, will decide when this conversation is over.
Oh, have we anything else to discuss?
Are you perhaps aware that the Nilfgaardians tried to kill me?
What? No, I heard only about an avalanche.
Which tumbled down through no small effort of an Imperial envoy.
Never would I have agreed to such a heinous act.
I believe you.
I'm heartened that, despite all we...
I believe you because I believe the Nilfgaardians wouldn't ever have asked your opinion. Think on it, son. Are you their ally or their tool? Can you ever be sure?
I am the king. Might I leave now? Or is there more?
Naturally. How did you know you would find me here?
I received Nilfgaardian reports to the effect that you've been seen in the pass.
Oh, roses are red and so are your cheeks, my son. As ever when you're caught in a lie. Lyria is 2 weeks' travel hence. Had you received word only once I was here, we'd have been long gone from Mahakam by the time you assembled a force and completed the march. No. You were forewarned of our intended route. It means I've a traitor in my ranks. Another one. Get out of my sight, villain. And pray we only ever face one another on neutral ground.
Meve's main vigilant.
Feasting's done, Rainard. We must consider our next move.
I've thought on it, Your Grace. We've strength enough to hit the foe, but still not the numbers to face him in open battle.
So what do you propose?
This war we cannot win alone, nor even with the dwarves at our side. But if we secure a victory, small yet symbolic, we shall show the other realms of the north all is not yet lost. Thus, I propose we attack behind the front lines, somewhere well clear of any major Imperial force.
Where would you suggest?
I'm considering Angren. To begin with, a thickly wooded marshy land, always helpful in clandestine operations. Secondly, the land strategically important, as it's the chief source of building material for Nilfgaard's fleets.
All too little, I fear. Since we require a victory that would be symbolic, we must strike where it shall hurt. And Angren...
Just recently welcomed a new regent, in the person of Count Coldwell. My third argument. Naturally, if your majesty wishes, I'm prepared to present alternatives to this.
No need. We march at dawn.
Reeve had toiled, cajoled, persuaded, and gained the dwarves' support. She left Mahakam strengthened, markedly. Even so, the queen was in a foul mood. For it was clear a traitor, a viper, nested among the Lyrians. Someone who had conveyed the queen's plans to her foe. From this moment on, Reeve would need to weigh every word she uttered, even in the presence of her closest associates.
Your Grace, we must plot our course forward. Shall we take the western passage into Angren, or...
Not now.
When, then? Dawn approaches, yet we know nothing of where...
I will not repeat myself.
The queen knew she would learn the traitor's identity in the end. If need be, she would tear the name from the throat of another turncoat, Count Coldwell. Reeve drooled at the prospect of seeing Coldwell in chains, then passing him to the hangman.
Saddle the horses. I shall take the fore.
The time for diplomacy, for preparations and negotiations had gone. Reeve was to attack her foe at last, and she could not wait to do so. At long last, Reeve's force reached Angren's marshy woods. Ever been? No? Count yourselves lucky.
Are you certain we haven't lost our way?
Alas, here there is no way. We continue south, that's all.
South meaning the bottom.
Should you ever venture there, I offer you this advice. Do your utmost to make no noise. Poor soul. His comrades cried out, reached out, but alas, amidst frothing waters they heard bones cracking, the moan of metal bent and crushed.
What the... bloody hell, what was that?
Rather not know, personally.
Hold your positions! Arms at the ready!
It was a glusty war. One of many the Lyrians would encounter along their path. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. At last, Reeve and her force stood upon the Yaruga's bank. To find and punish the traitor Coldwell, they would have to cross the river. Yet the sole bridge...
Rainard, you fought in the first war against Nilfgaard, did you not?
Yes, Your Grace. Though, as a mere captain then.
Were they equally cruel? Did they scorch fields, turn peasants into slaves?
Nay, Your Grace. They fought with honor in those days.
So, what's happened? Why the change?
It's said Emperor Emir var Emrys's heart hardened over the years. He's grown crueler, more ruthless. His soldiers' zeal for violence has followed suit.
But you don't say that.
No, Your Grace.
To your mind, why do they now despise us as they war against us?
'Tis ever easier to loathe those you know. Before the first war, they knew nothing about us. Then they saw they'd the better weapons, larger cities, superior craft. That in our towns, waste flowed through the streets in open gutters. And they concluded we weren't their equals. It's far easier to kill when one holds such a belief.
It's time I attended to other matters.
Hey-ho, how's my favourite queen in the north?
Ever have regrets? Feel remorse?
For what?
Oh, I don't know. Killing innocents, perhaps? Murdering travellers, pilgrims.
I've always warned them. Won't touch a hair on your heads, provided you don't resist. So, see, gave them a choice. Besides, innocence? Please, Maeve. We both know those to be mythical creatures. Everyone's got something on their conscience.
So there's always call for murder.
That's right. Dead right. You need but answer it.
It's time I attended to them.
Yes, my lady?
I haven't had the opportunity to thank you. Had you not been so alert, we'd have fallen to our deaths in Mahakam.
I merely did my duty, Your Majesty.
Modest as ever. Yet once the war is over, I shall make certain you're properly...
My lady, the one reward I desire is victory. Your victory.
Other matters await my attention. We shall speak later.
As you wish.
You need my help with anything? Anything at all. I've ideas aplenty.
Ever travelled with an army before?
Frankly, can't say that I have. You folk are my first. And let me say, it's not nearly as dull as I expected. Your travelling companions are fascinating, truly.
Is that so? Who, if I might ask?
Let me think. Then there's that aged woman. Isbel, is it? Oh, Your Grace, a complete lunatic, that one. Did you know she believes the world to be round? Round! Like an egg! And just between the two of us, the quiet chap, Xavier, gives me the willies, truth be told. Could just be on account of his face looking like a piece of taffy stuck to the sole of a boot. Who else? Oh, right, a word of advice. Never play Gascon at cards. He's a hustler, that one. And he tells tall tales. About debts, specifically. Ones that I supposedly owe him. And the Rainard fellow. What a jester. Always good for a laugh.
I'm sorry, what?
Every day he barks at me, stand at attention, with a perfectly straight face. And last, he asked asked if I'd served in the Norm army. I mean, really. Sometimes I just can't with that man.
Very thorough, Barnabas.
Hidden among brambles, Maeve watched the Nilfgaardian sentries atop the palisade. In full gear, alert in stance, they looked sharp and ready to defend the stronghold.
Blast!
Maeve hissed, for she now knew Red Lobendon would not fall by surprise. A siege would be needed, and it would slow her advance. Yet there was naught she could do, as this was her one road to Angren and to Caldwell. Rainard wiped the sweat from his brow, donned his helmet, and dropped his visor with a tap.
On your command, Your Majesty.
Very well. We mustn't delay. Rainard, our plan of attack. Armoured infantry to lead and take the first salvo upon their breast, scaling ladders to follow. Afterwards...
Masterful. Truly masterful.
Interrupted Gascon.
Yet, despite the mastery, fit to be improved.
How, namely?
Hold back your force. Lie in waiting. I'll take 10 good men and open the gates for you. Wide.
And how do you aim to achieve this?
Asked Rainard.
Knock and claim to be a trinket peddler, I suppose. Or perhaps one of Lebioda's devout disciples.
Must you know every last detail? Where's the fun in that, sir?
There's none in warfare. Never.
Seethed Rainard.
For war is no farce. Your Majesty, he stands no chance. Not the slightest.
None at all, I concur. Yet his eagerness intrigues. Let's see what he can do.
Rainard did not approve of Maeve's decision, this was clear. Yet he dared not undermine it. The Queen's blessing now his, Gascon assembled a small force and set off, straight for the stronghold gate.
Lambs to the slaughter,
muttered Rainard, shaking his head.
My Queen, it's not too late. We can always...
Shh! Look.
Already at the gate, Gascon lifted his arm in a gesture of peace, then merrily bantered a bit with the guards. A moment later, the gates jerked into motion.
But how?
No matter. The gate stands open. We must attack.
Maeve raced off towards the fortress without even glancing back. She knew well her soldiers would follow. Suddenly leaderless, the Nilfgaardians laid down their arms.
My, Gascon. Colour me surprised.
Pleasantly so, I trust.
Don't fish for compliments, it doesn't suit you. Besides, you know you deserve both medal and title.
I shall hold you to it, my queen.
In due course. But I must know how. What ruse persuaded the Nilfgaardians to open the gate?
Come, my delightful charms, no ruse.
Oh, I see. Not one to share secrets.
Unremarkable, as I see it. I'd hold my tongue too, were my conscience thus burdened.
I've done naught to hide my shameful past, friend. I was a brigand, indeed, yet...
Do not dare take me for a fool. You know of what I speak.
Yet I don't. Rainard, what is this? What the devils is with you?
Your Grace, in Mahakam, the Nilfgaardian letter we managed to intercept. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meve and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. 'Twas Gascon who told us Caldwell had received Angren to rule. 'Twas Gascon who suggested we ride for Lobendon. Here, the Blackclads willingly opened the gate, for they expected him to deliver a prisoner. You!
I don't believe this. No, it cannot be.
Deny it, Gascon. Go on. Tell me I'm wrong. Do you require any more proof, Your Grace? What do they promise you? Amnesty? Coin in heaps?
Both. I knew Nilfgaard wouldn't parley with me as a matter of course. To be treated seriously, I needed something they valued. A stroke of luck, it was, the chance to free you from Caldwell's grip. 'Twas in Edirn that we first spoke. Then came to an understanding after Rosberg's fall.
Why do I still live then? Why not snatch me under Knight's mantle? Drag me to Red Lobendon in chains?
Leave. I sought to sell you out, I did, and aimed to gain by it. Yet in Edirn, you earned my respect. In Mahakam, my admiration. I swore then I wouldn't follow the terms of the accord I'd made. Instead, I'd let you into the fort, and make damn sure the Commandant couldn't reveal the truth.
Flattery will get you knout. You, sir, are a traitor.
Oh, please, friend. You appear to me a pot that calls the kettle black.
Rainard, what does he mean?
I've no notion, Your Grace. Not the slightest.
Truly? Ha! And I had you pegged for a man of honor. Come now, Rainard. Who sent secret missives to Willem? Go on, you really should tell your queen.
What? Rainard?
His Highness guest chambers in Mahakam. One of my lads snuck in. Found a letter bearing the signature of one Rainard Odo.
Rainard, I beg you. Say it's not so. Tell me it's a filthy lie.
Your Grace. I'd hoped His Highness and you would reconcile. To see son stand against mother rent my heart. I wish to help.
Behind my back.
Your Majesty, I sought merely to push the youth to see reason, to open his eyes.
So say you now. Yet I can't know what was in the letters. I can't know what pacts you made. And alas, I can no longer take you at your word.
I'm not alone in having deceived. Yet I am in repairing my wrong.
Meve felt a tempest rise inside her. Yet she could not release it lest it cloud her view. She would solve the problem, strike it from her mind, and resume her journey at once.
Drawn and quartered I should have you both. Yet in truth, I cannot do without your aid. Now more than ever. 'Tis the one reason I show mercy and forgive.
Your Grace, perhaps made with doubt, but 'tis the right decision. I shall prove it. Thank you.
Rainard and I rarely see eye to eye, but under the circumstances, I second his every word.
Oh, shut your damn traps! And I believe you're needed in the wagon train. Now!
The Queen's wish was clear and fierce. Gascon and Rainard slid off, leaving Neve to her thoughts.
From the palisades rampart, me...
In private?
Yes, Mom. I've given thought to certain matters. The time's come to explain and reveal my decisions. I've not been entirely honest, but I've seen you very much deserve the truth. You're brave, wise, and above all, you've a good heart. And thus you're unlike any other ruler I've ever met, had dealings with.
Isbel, what is it you wish to say? You're starting to worry me.
I told you of Sintra and Sodden. Do you recall? It's true, I took part in that war. Yet I fought for the Empire.
What? I'm not certain I understand.
My name is Isbel ep Muirmos, of Nilfgaard. I wish I could say I am from a conquered province. I wish I had that luxury. But no, I hail from the city of the Golden Towers itself.
My, I'd certainly not expected that. Please, tell me more.
I went straight from the academy to the army, as majors do in Nilfgaard. Yet I truly believed our aim to be to build a better world. With our help, the mages, the Emperor conquered realm after realm, right up to the Amel Mountains. Yet he was not sated, and turned his greedy eyes to the north. But the north stood and faced him. I'll never forget the bloodbath he wrought in Sintra. It was unspeakable.
He sought to intimidate us. He united us instead.
Indeed. At Sodden, when chaos engulfed the Imperial army, I saw my chance to flee the madness and begin life anew. And I did just that. I never sought thereafter to rejoin my countrymen or return to my home. Instead, I stayed in the north and swore never again to use my magic to harm others. Yet I cannot stand idle as the Emperor perpetrates atrocity after atrocity. I wish to fight at your side.
All deserve a second chance. Yet from now on, there are to be no more secrets between us.
Certainly. I thank you. You've no idea what this means to me.
Good. Oh, and Isbel, this must stay between us alone. For your own sake.
I appreciate the concern, Mom, but you needn't worry about me. I've lived for some time in the north, and dare say I know how to get by.
The city of the Golden Towers. Don't think I know any soul who's seen it with their own eyes.
Did you know many common folk believe they're made of real gold, the towers? Yet they're named for how the southern sun dances off their rooftops. My family lived in the capital long before Nilfgaard was ever an empire. The city is of great beauty, was always a source of pride, turned arrogance in time. When I was but a lass, my father would take me to the grand amphitheater to watch the gladiators fight. A daughter of Nilfgaard should grow accustomed to the sight of blood, he said. For to conquer the world was our destiny.
Dreadful. You must have hated it.
At the time, I saw nothing wrong in it. I admired the gladiators for their bravery, skill, finesse. Though now it shames me to admit it.
Duty calls. I must go.
Of course. Should you need me?
Queen of Lyria and Rivia. At war with Nilfgaard, I ventured into these swamps.
Is there a war on? Hey, that's news. Certainly, but little concern to me. The name's Gimpy Gerwin, and I rule these lands.
Is that so? As conferred upon you by whom?
By me! Angren's a good bit larger than folk think. And no dukes or emperor's fingers stand to reach its every corner. Thus I just up and took this particular nook. Made it mine. So let's parley, Meave. One ruler to another. At the risk of being blunt, I don't care who wins this war. But I want to be in good standing with whoever does. So, I offer you a fire at which to warm your limbs. Also, a place at my table and beds for you to rest. On condition, you pledge to me one very small thing. To respect the sacred...
Mercy. I know you all too well for that, Meave. Ever vindictive and cruel.
All this from a paragon of knightly virtues. You stabbed me in the back, Caldwell, and used Willem to do so. My son!
Who agreed without a moment's hesitation? Forsaken by your own son. Your flesh and blood. What's that say about you?
Oh, you tread on thin ice. Choose your next words carefully.
Spare me your threats. You'll kill me all the same.
Death can come in many ways, Count. Some quick, some slow.
My. How you strut and vaunt. Terribly sure of yourself. Perhaps too sure.
Your castle is mine. I've crushed your force. I dare say no, I'm not.
Precisely my point. Don't you see? The Empire's not one army, it's dozens, hundreds. It's what I strove to knock into that thick dome of yours. Alas, you're too much a dullard. Soon as I'd learned you'd crossed into Angren, I sent for reinforcements. They'll be here soon. 3 regiments, armed to the teeth.
Nilfgaardians seem ever to have the upper hand, yet I find the means to defeat them.
Not this time, Meave. Nilfgaard comes in numbers. 10 Imperial footmen to each and every one of yours. You'll not win, nor can you flee. Do you know why?
Enlighten me. I dare you.
But one bridge leads to Tuzla. As it happens, I ordered it raised as you laid siege. The swamps around the castle are too deep to cross. Try to rebuild the bridge, the Imperial troops will arrive before you can finish. Your men they'll slay as you watch, and then they'll wring your neck.
I wouldn't be so pleased were I you. You won't live to see this outcome.
I know that, but I take heart in the truth. Though the castle you've seized and will likely kill me, I've won. Outsmarted you, Meave. Twice now. And you know what? 'Twasn't even.
The Lyrians emerged victorious, due in no small part to the Witcher.
Thanks for the help. Name's Ivo, Witcher, School of the Bear.
Meave, Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
Well. Didn't expect to see anyone out here. And certainly not a queen with an army in tow.
We're not here by choice.
I bet not. No one plans to pass through Isgith.
And you? What's brought you here? A contract, perchance?
That's right. Hunting a monster.
I know your services to be rather dear. Who could afford a witcher's bounty in these wretched swamps?
Nilfgaardians.
Blast, of course. Preparing the land for settlement. Cull the monsters, drain the swamp, then bring in slaves. Doubtless from the north.
Maybe. I got paid in advance. I didn't see the need to ask any questions.
But did you have to take the coin? Don't you see what they're doing?
Forgive me, your majesty, but seems to me you're confusing witchers with knights errant. We don't fight oppression, right wrongs, or avenge orphans. We slay monsters for coin. And it don't matter whose head's on the front or whose coffers it's from.
This beast you're out to slay, what is it?
Hang on. You mean to tell me you've led your force into Isgith and don't even know what lives here?
I believe I was clear. We're not here by choice.
Yeah, but now that you are here, it'll take a minor miracle to get you out. Isgith's swamps, realm of a truly dangerous being. Elves call it Gvern Iker, the Bloody Mistress. Over generations, locals twisted the name until it became Gurnikora.
Indeed. I've heard it.
So you've also probably seen her beloved fruit.
leeches, and ticks. You'd all be wise to stay away from them.
This Gernacora, what is she exactly?
Depends who you ask. Elves saw a fallen goddess in her. Never managed to cut her down while they lived here, but they did stem her growth, kept her from growing stronger. As for the local humans, spirit of a cursed princess, that's their take. Deep belief, actually.
Care to elaborate?
Stories that she was riding north to marry a Temerian duke. Whole retinue and caravan got lost, wagons got stuck, everybody drowned in the bog. Quicksand got him, that sort of thing. Gernacora grabbed a root before the quagmire swallowed her whole. Hollered for hours, but there wasn't a soul around to hear her. Leeches, hundreds covered her, settled in for a royal feast, sucked her dry, drained her to pretty much the last drop. Fear and revulsion so completely overcame her spirit, she couldn't pass into the afterlife. So she came back, revived by Isgith's magic.
Ugh. A chilling tale.
Yeah, except made up, probably. Don't believe the elven legends either. Gernacora's a monster, plain and simple. Extremely dangerous, sure, but just a monster.
The leeches and ticks, you called them her fruit.
It's kinda complicated.
We've time enough.
Gernacora's a little like a vampire. They're kindred creatures. Except, instead of feasting on the blood of others, she feeds them her own.
I'm not certain I understand.
They're parasites, right? She puts them on her body, feeds them her own blood. Then hangs them on shrubs and trees.
Ugh. To what end?
To other monsters, they're delicacies. Sweet, juicy, full of Gernacora's blood. Irresistible. Any beast that tastes that loses its mind, turns into Gernacora's slave. So, if your paths cross and push comes to shove, she's not gonna be alone. Find yourself fighting the whole damn swamp.
How are we to fight her? How might she be killed?
Sorry, sharing secrets. Just not something we do.
Not even with those who saved your life just moments past.
We gotta wait till she starts feeding the parasites. She's weakest then. Stand a chance to hurt her.
Right. So we attack only once she puts the leeches to her skin.
Yeah. And when you kill her, if you kill her, any beasts under her spell will weaken considerably. And then, you gotta burn her corpse. I mean it, understand? Burn it.
And you? Will you not hunt her any longer?
No, I will. Just need to prepare. Realized that today. Gotta brew some potions, blade oils. Come back in a few days.
I don't even have that much time. Nilfgaard's hordes pursue us. I must march on.
In that case, wish you luck. Lots of it.
I suppose there's no argument that would persuade you to ride with us.
Your Grace, mutations strip us of emotion, not reason.
The Witcher vanished midst the trees. In evading Nilfgaard's banners, Meve led her force into Angren's wildest reaches. The foe could not attack the Lyrians there, yet hazards of another sort befell them. One day they reached a quagmire too vast and deep to ford. So the Queen summoned her engineer, Xavier, and called on him to build a makeshift bridge. By nightfall, he had drawn up plans.
We shall start by laying abutments, then drive piles into the mire.
The depth?
We dropped plumb lines. 4 ells.
Confused by the plans, Meve did not see as Xavier slipped a line off his shoulder. By the time she felt it on her throat, she feared it might be too late.
I long awaited this moment, when we would be alone. You die now, Majesty, and with you dies Lyria's, the whole North will to resist. Hail, Ketzer, hail!
What died was the Nilfgaardian rallying cry in Xavier's throat. At the last instant, Gascon and Rainard rushed in to save the warrior queen, and thus proved their loyalty beyond any doubt.
Your Grace,
Your Grace!
There was no answer. But Rainard could hear her breathe. Meve would live. It was several hours later when Meve finally came to. She opened her eyes, then Gascon and Rainard helped her to her feet.
Careful, Your Majesty.
I should have been more careful earlier. Damn it. If you two hadn't...
No need for words. You needn't mention it.
I couldn't disagree more. We're due for a long conversation. First of all, I owe you thanks. Second, my trust in you both has been heavily tarnished. I believe that goes without saying. Yet today you proved beyond all doubt that I can rely on you. So I thank you.
To serve under your banner, Majesty, it is an honor.
Likely I'd have put it differently, but Rainard seems to have the right idea.
Very well. We've reassured ourselves of admiration for one another enough. We've matters to which we must attend. I trust as I lay there dead to the world, you did not sit about with your thumbs up your bums. Have you at least learned why Xavier betrayed us, sided with the Empire?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Your Grace, the rogue who lunged at you, in truth, was one Gwalter ep Luinoch, a Nilfgaardian spy.
Just a moment, that makes no sense. He saved my life in Mahakam, on the bridge.
He did, for he had to.
In one of the letters we found, Ep Dahi orders Gwalter to watch over Elder-in-Chief Hoog. The Scoia'tael in the mountains was sent there by Nilfgaard to recruit dwarves, but their commander, the Vixen, they feared she'd attack Bruva himself, something Eb Dahi wished to avoid.
Naturally. For someone else could seize power, someone not so neutrally inclined. Someone more likely to aid me, gods forbid. This discovery you made how?
We found in his toolbox a concealed compartment, letters inside. Though encrypted, we managed to decipher them. They were the Grey Rider for you to read.
The swine. An Imperial spy in my ranks this whole time. But to wait so long to strike, why?
He'd only just received the order. Another letter in the box, signed by General Eb Dahi, stated, to Gwalter ep Luinoch, eliminate M at first opportunity.
Honourless bastards. They'll stop at nout.
Now, Meve, you'll gain nout by getting riled. No sense to it. This is good news, in fact.
Is that so?
Think. Ep Dahi had a spy in our midst. He knew our movements, had his eye on us, his finger on the pulse. He knew our plans, who we parlayed with, and yet he didn't order your assassination. For you posed no threat. Well, clearly so much changed. Congratulations! Nilfgaard fears you now.
And rightly so. But we found him in the rubble at Rosberg, midst the ashes.
Precisely what placed him beyond suspicion.
We suspect Gwalter enlisted with the Edanians some years past, infiltrated that army.
He had a hand in Rosberg's defense. Then, when the time was right, he lent that same hand to its demise. Caused an explosion that tore a hole through its walls. It worked, but at a price. He suffered severe burns. If not for our medics, he'd have...
Stop. So it was not elves who brought about the fort's fall as he claimed?
A filthy lie to stoke the fires of racial hatred. To stir conflict and chaos and rage that would make the realm of Edirn waver and fall.
If we're to judge by Rayla's actions, he was right.
Bastard. Yet even so badly hurt, in such pain, not for a moment did he drop his mummer's act.
I've heard much of Nilfgaardian spies, Your Grace. They're trained from childhood, face constant indoctrination. They do anything for the Emperor, anything and everything. As soon as Gwalter spotted a chance to join our ranks, to be at your side, he took it, exploited it ably.
To be brief, I've traitors all about me.
Your Grace.
You, Willem, the Cad Caldwell, Gascon, Gabor, finally Xavier. Tell me how. How am I to trust anyone?
You can't. Amongst all the realms in the north, you're Nilfgaard's sole rival. One remaining threat. All other rulers, either soundly defeated and enchained, or tails tween their legs, they've donned Nilfgaard's leash. The Black-clads will do all to destroy you, if not upon the field, then in secret, with an assassin and a quick, sharp bow.
What's left? Prayer. Melitele too is sure to turn and take Nilfgaardian gold sooner or later. Ugh. We've talked enough. We must form up. Move on.
Majesty, you ought to rest. You stand swaying. Your step can't be too sure.
Only my horse needs step true.
Maeve, you've just about had the life choked out of you. No time to play the hero.
I'm not Gascon. Quite the opposite, actually. These damn swamps, they terrify me. I wish to get the hell out and never, ever look back.
The Aruga lies near. I sent scouts ahead. They've secured a barge. We can sail to Red Lobendon.
Maeve was victorious on the banks of the Yaruga, but paid dearly for it. She lost a host of men and suffered harm herself. Yet she'd have been doomed, if not for a certain white-haired witcher. Maeve longed to meet her mysterious savior, and set off in search of him as soon as the battle dust had settled. She found him with the field surgeon and learned he was none other than the Witcher Geralt. Yes, incredible as it may seem, I've heard the tale from several and can vouch for its truth. At any rate, making note of the fact that Geralt's ears were ringing from a blow with a mace, Maeve began immediately to interrogate him.
You for Woodbridge?
Asked Maeve, prodding him insistently. For a spell, Geralt worried his hearing was shot, but then realized the Queen had a lisp.
Worked out that way, I guess.
You guess?
Maeve gagged on the blood in her mouth.
Someone hold me!
The Queen felt Geralt merited the highest honor, a knighthood. Another monarch might have delayed until a more opportune time, but not Maeve. Maeve delayed nothing.
Count Odo, you, sir, do the honors. Alas, I cannot because of my tooth.
For valor shown in battle, I, Maeve, by the gods' grace, Queen of Lyria and Rivia, hereby do knight thee.
Geralt of place unknown. The bridge you felled with men from Rivia. Or so you guess. I guess it falls to me to dub thee Geralt of Rivia.
Maeve had come home, though by a circuitous route, through Edern's smoking embers, Angren's beast-infested quagmires, cross Mahakam's snow-capped ridges. But she had returned, cloaked in legend, a mighty army in tow. The moment was weighty, and not to be tainted even by Geralt of Rivia's disappearance, or dare we say desertion. The hero of the battle for the bridge was now a sought man. Yet Maeve was determined to take back her realm, with or without the Witcher's aid. The Lyrians' daring escapade behind enemy lines, and the triumphant victory at the battle for the bridge that crowned it, breathed new life into the North's war effort. Bands of resistance fighters now swarmed the conquered lands, while Kedwin and Redania, on the verge of swearing fealty to the Emperor, suddenly broke off talks with the invader. The Nilfgaardian war machine suddenly screeched to a halt, and the tide of war turned. Facing a united North, the invader had to withdraw the bulk of its forces from Lyria and Rivia. The way was cleared for Maeve to retake her lost lands, defeat General Epdahi, and depose Willem. Or perhaps mother and son would not have to fight after all.
Milady, I come at King Willem's bidding.
Prince Willems.
His Majesty proposes a meeting. No arms, no escorts.
His Majesty? Whelp's barely tall enough to reach his mother's bosom. For shame!
Silence. Let him say his piece.
His Majesty, Willem I, wishes to discuss the possibility of a truce.
He wishes to surrender. Is that his aim?
Your words, not mine, Your Grace.
I've a few more on the tip of my tongue. But save them I shall for later.
Willem I's chosen the site for the parley.
Willem I will choose nought. If he wishes to speak, let him meet me midst the ruins of Devil's Tower.
Understood, Your Grace. I'll relay your terms.
Willem's emissary rode off, serenaded by hisses and jeers. Frightened by the clamour, his horse reared and kicked. The rider forced his mount to obey with cracks of his crop, striking many more times than was necessary.
The fool. Nag'll toss him off first chance it gets. Soon as he loosens the reins.
No great loss, I wager. But tell me, your thoughts on this reunion?
Sounds a ruse to me. But I know that won't stop you.
Whence this certainty?
Come now, Maeve. At the end of it all, he's your son. You still care about him, it's obvious.
You're absolutely right.
Perhaps let bygones be bygones. Perhaps it's not too late.
Only one way to know. Let's go.
Maeve rode out, clad in golden plate, her banners waving proudly overhead. She no longer led a band of ragtag partisans, but an army able to fend off an empire and drive its soldiers from her lands.
Your Majesty, some new reports require your attention.
You need my help with anything? Anything at all, I've ideas aplenty.
Long you've travelled, Barnabas. The wonders you must have seen. Likely visited many exotic lands before you reached Mahakam.
Corvia, yes. Matina, yes. Nazadabli. Zeracania, gods, yes. And Korath, even. I mean, such beauty there, though hot. Oh, dreadfully so. Horrible place to grow turnips, if you've ever a mind to try. Novigrad. Lived there a spell as well, but I didn't much care for it.
Why ever not?
The hierarch, intractable man, banned one of my inventions, condemned it as unholy, vile, etc., etc. Decided he would burn both of us at the stake. As you can imagine, we had a difference of opinion in that regard.
Perhaps I shall regret this, but do tell. What was the thing you created exactly?
I knew you'd be interested. You've a curious mind, dear Queen. We're two peas of a feather. Quite the clever contraption it was. Made for a widow, wealthy, but aching with longing. In her husband's absence, tormented by unfulfilled needs.
Stop right there. I knew I'd regret asking.
See, it had this special crank that when rotated...
Barnabas, no, enough.
As you command, Your Majesty. But if you ever get the urge to see it, I've the prototype still tucked away in my trunk.
Noted. But by the gods, please, let's change the subject.
Maeve nodded in agreement, then made as if to ride on. Yet Gascon had hardly entered the cemetery when the Queen turned and followed. Gascon quickly realized he was not alone.
Oh, Maeve. Had I been plotting to do you no good, I'd not have announced I was sneaking off to do it.
What do you mean?
Come now, Maeve, don't play the fool. You don't trust me, so you followed. Probably thought I'd commune with Epdahi in some crypt. Nay, better, the conclave of mages. Well, rest assured then. For if I truly had something I wanted to conceal, I dare say you'd not have noticed me slip off.
I was merely curious to see what you would do here.
Ah, indeed. It is rather curious what folk do in cemeteries. Play tiddlywinks, perhaps? Or take in the sun?
Gascon, I've grown used to you bending the rules of decorum, but now you overstep, sir. You overstep.
Oh, will you have me flogged?
Hold your tongue, sir, or I shall indeed. Splendid. Now tell me why you've come here.
If you absolutely must know, then follow me.
Gascon led Maeve through the ruins of a mausoleum, past its decapitated statues, past ancient gravestones effaced, past sarcophagi smashed to pieces.
Whose is it? Could it be...
Yes, Maeve. My family's vault. The Brossards.
The Brossards? Wait. The Brossards?
The very same. Traitors who in 1258 revolted against King Reginald, your late husband. The earth lie lightly upon him. An error, most certainly. We paid dearly for it. Reginald had no mercy, decimated the family. As you can see, didn't even spare the dead. I was outside, away from the house. 'Tis the only reason I survived. Was 8 at the time, stripped of title and home. Well, I'm sure you can guess the rest. Frankly, do my damnedest not to think on it. But the wall, the cemetery, seeing them awoke all the old demons.
Your crest. I seem to recall a pointer. The Duke of Dogs. Now I understand. The Brossard's trial I remember well. Reginald was angry. He prodded and pushed. Too far. The sentence was cruel, spiteful. I felt it all, but said nothing. I'm so very, very sorry, Gascon.
Water under the bridge. And the past's a thing none of us can change.
The past, no. But the present? I could rebuild your family's tomb. All deserve to rest in peace.
Maeve, the war nears its end days now, and you'll have more urgent expenses.
So I shall pay for this now. I'm grateful, Gascon, and indebted. Vastly. Let me do this. Let me pay my debt in part, at least.
I thank you.
Gas a cloak. Willem and the mother who'd borne him stood face to face. They gazed into each other's eyes, waiting to see who would look away first. When neither did, Maeve broke the silence.
Time flies, and I've a kingdom to liberate. No need to drag this out. What's this about? Tell me.
I thought my messenger already did.
Oh, he did. And how? Willem I wishes to arrange a truce. Only, Willem I is in no position to parley on an equal footing. Willem I can, at most, offer his unconditional surrender, because Willem I's losing this war.
Yes, Mother, I am. And I see that by losing I've at last made you content.
Willem, we do not meet as mother and son. We meet only as leaders of two armies at war.
Can you separate the two? Truly?
I must. If only not to lose my mind.
I see. Then let us parley. I'm losing, you say. And you're right. But I haven't lost yet. And have no intention to surrender. I am ready, however, to renounce my fealty to the Empire and pledge my forces to you. As long as you fulfill my conditions.
Let me hear them.
First, you will not rescind the reforms I've authorized already, any of them. Second, you will guarantee both my safety and that of my advisors. Third, I shall remain your heir, and next in line for the throne.
These terms I cannot accept.
Well, I had to try, Mother.
Yet I can't deny your courage either. Come here. Look me in the eye. This couldn't have been easy.
No, it wasn't.
I trust when the time comes, you'll show the same nerve on the battlefield.
I shall seek out your banner. Let the gods then settle our dispute once and for all. Goodbye, Mother.
Willem bowed, turned and walked away. Maeve's anger burned still in her gut. Beneath her heart now...
Broadhead, you're free at last. The Nilfgaardian occupation is done.
Aye, and a new one starts now.
Are you madman? Don't you recognize our banners? The Lyrian army stands before you.
Oh, I recognise banners. Served neath them as a sergeant 15 long years. And then I came back to my hometown. Know what I found? Hardship and squalor, your grace. All had gone to shite. On account of damn dwarves. Been flooding Rivia with their metal goods for years now. Us smiths don't so much as light their pipes in their foundries no more. You call yourselves the Lyrian army. Colours and banners confirm it. Well, what about your arms? Weren't forged in us fires, but in Mahakams. By us worst foes. Hell, I even see some at knobheads in your ranks. So what freedom's it you're giving us, your grace? Freedom to beg in common, not in Nilfgaard's mongrel tongue, beg.
What do you want about, man?
There's no levy on goods from Mahakam. But without it, us workshops don't stand a chance. And ye, your grace, you wear their armour, bear their arms, and bring bearded bastards to our doorstep.
There's a war on. I do whatever I must to win.
Aye, Majesty. And you run up a debt with dwarves. A debt you'll need to repay. At the cost of your own craftsmen.
Enough. Silence. Consider yourself lucky you've a merciful queen. I'd have had your head off by now. Move along.
Before Meave could leave the market square, Barnabas politely interjected.
Frankly speaking, there's a bit of truth to what the man says.
I'm perfectly aware of that. But what do you want?
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but perhaps I might be of some help.
Do tell how. I'm all ears.
Everything your folk make here, the dwarves of Mahakam make twice as fast and twice as well. You must find a so-called niche, an innovation. And it just so happens innovations
are your speciality.
At the risk of being immodest, exactly. Besides, it might serve the cause of peace to show the folk here, non-humans, are not all bad, that they can help, not just steal human job.
The Golden Sun and General Epdahi's crest on Rivia's walls. The walls of home. There was somber silence among the troops, the glee and pride of many triumphs suddenly gone. For each knew if the Queen ordered an assault, most would lie dead by sunrise.
Your Majesty,
began Rainard in a reassuring tone.
We needn't strike quickly. We've time on our side. To prepare would be wise. 2 months, I wager. Perfectly enough. We stop supplies from getting through. They'll capitulate, I've little doubt. Or at worst, be too weak to defend the fortress.
Raynard's reasoning was sound. There was no need for urgency. Meave had the upper hand for the first time in this war.
Let Epdahi wait,
said Meave, her eyes trained on the citadel.
Let him watch from those walls as we reclaim our realm, village by village, town by town. Follow me!
Meave turned her back to the castle, eager to take the fight elsewhere. Meave.
These invaders have grown fond of Rivia Castle,
said Meave.
So let them stay and rot. Rainard, erect road barricades and guard posts between city and citadel. Gascon, seize all boats, barges, anything that floats. Stop anything from entering from the lake. Move!
Soon Rivia Castle stood isolated from the world outside its walls. All roads leading to it were blocked, impassable. Fishing boats, a cordon, embraced the fortress on Loch Escalot. The lanterns on their bows glowed like fireflies in summer. Then, an emissary from the castle brought a message for the Queen. General Epdahi wished to meet, face to face, and half the way between the citadel and the Lyrian camp.
Well, well, some general,
smirked Gascon.
We've barely snapped the trap shut, yet he's already shaking in his knickers.
Meave proceeded to the meeting point without delay. A lone rider soon appeared on the horizon. He came adorned in rich black robes, their golden trim shimmering in stray sunbeams. She'd seen him before, in Edirn, through the megascope.
You came as I requested. Good. Very good.
I couldn't possibly refuse such a courteous invitation, especially as compared to your previous missive. The art of diplomacy, you've improved your grasp.
Your realm fell quickly. I expended little strength in seizing it. This left me much time to study. But please, we must set aside this bitterness. I'd like to formally welcome you to Rivia, dear Queen.
I see you've readily adopted the role of gracious host in my home.
In point of fact, I've grown fond of the castle. Fortifications impressive, atypical of the north. Not so your brave soldiers, whom we shall pick off like ducks. I pity them, in fact.
Dry your eyes, General. Rest easy. I've no plans for a quick assault. I shall first wait to hear the rumbling in your bellies.
Remarkable. You truly believe you can win this war? I've not been in the North long, but have discovered something all the same. You don't grasp complex ideas. You know Nilfgaard is large, but your minds don't fathom its enormity. You see, for every army you defeat, another will come to take its place. One larger and better equipped than the one before. Even now, as we so pleasantly chat, Army Group East is en route to lift your siege, due to arrive tomorrow. And do you know what will happen when they do? They will crush you against your own castle's walls, like the maddening flea you are.
Enough. I'll not be insulted, General, nor intimidated.
Then I wish you a splendid night, Majesty. Get some rest. You'll need it tomorrow.
Indeed I will. For with raised visor, I shall be at the fore. Unlike you.
In my home, in the civilized world, a general commands his force. He does not rush and thrash about like some rabid hound.
You're not at home, General. You're in the north. In my home. But you're right. I will rest. While you should pray to all your gods that we don't meet amidst the fray.
Without awaiting a response from General Ep Dahi, Meve pivoted and turned toward camp. Her pace was quick, despite a heavy heart.
Seems your late husband, rest his soul, may have overcompensated a bit with this cat. Don't have a spare key for the main gate by any chance? No, thought not. Shame I've not yet finished my glider. Could have flown over the walls. Shame I've...
Gonna be one hell of a night! Ah! 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 Don't you dare sound the retreat, got it? My axe craves blood! Nilfgaardian blood! Don't you...
Meve's closest advisors already awaited her in the command tent. In a few brief words, the Queen gave a report of the meeting, only with great effort masking the quavering in her voice.
An army, an immense one, approaches from the west. If we meet in open battle, we stand not a chance.
Damn it! Why did no one warn me?
Our scouts were discovered. Captured. It must be that.
We must flee? Not at all heroic, I admit. But sure as hell better than being trampled into the dirt.
Easily said, but for a problem. Our force is chiefly infantry. The army that draws near includes cavalry, several regiments. We cannot hope to escape them. We cannot hope to hide.
What do you advise?
We've two options. Capitulate.
Out of the question.
Or take the castle. Tonight.
Suppose for a moment it's possible. Tell me how and at what cost. Are we to scale a mountain of comrades' corpses to reach the top of the wall? I know we're at war and many die. But to command our troops to take that citadel is to condemn them to certain death.
Rivia's walls are unassailable. I fully agree. But there's more than one way to take any fort. And this fort too.
I think I like where this is going.
I know this citadel like no one else. I know its one potential weakness. The boat landing.
Wait. That narrowest of piers between the two turrets? The one where the fishermen would land?
The same. As I'm sure you recall, Your Grace, at that narrow pier's end stands a narrow door leading straight into the fortress. A small detachment could approach unnoticed, overwhelm any sentries, and get inside.
What then?
They would need to pass through the fort to the winch in the guardhouse. Open the gate for the rest of the force.
Rainard, I'll be honest. It sounds right mad.
Perhaps. But as options go, we have it alone.
And I'm to choose to send folk there? Most certainly to die.
You needn't choose anyone, for I volunteer. And will take only those willing to do the very same.
bloody wretched plan.
And you've a better one, do you?
Of course. I'll go instead.
Beg your pardon? I don't.
Face it, Rainard, you couldn't sneak past a corpse. Sound like a bloody tambourine in that armour. Apart from which, you're Maeve's right hand. So you ought to be by her side when the fighting starts.
Firstly, Rainard, I'm grateful. Well done, my friend.
Thank you, Your Grace.
But truth be told, I did indeed hear you walking to the tent from the other side of camp. And yes, you know Rivia Castle better than anyone else. But the assault must transpire silently. Gascon will lead the force.
Understood, Your Grace.
Cheers, Maeve. I'll try not to disappoint.
You won't, I'm sure. God speed you on your way, and please.
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. They now made more use of shields than of swords. When Maeve finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more.
Trocker! Name to win!
Maeve showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared. A prisoner revealed ep Dahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Maeve cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him,
muttered the Queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to. Preparing the defense.
That night the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Maeve's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay. The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle, they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General ep Dahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there. This place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Maeve had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. For King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with ep Dahi.
Demavend's envoy and I spoke, Your Majesty. The king has Aldersburg surrounded. He awaits and won't begin the assault till you arrive.
Good. I truly hate to miss it. Tell the troops to prepare. Gear and ire.
Of course, Your Grace.
Yes? Is there something else?
Pardon my boldness, Your Grace, but I can't help but be concerned. You don't sleep. You've the air of illness about you.
Rainard, I just buried my son, who died in my arms, goddammit.
Yes. Died a hero, Your Majesty. I wasn't sure Willem could ever wash away the shame. He'd betrayed his country, his mother, aligned with the fiercest of our foes. But his actions in Rivia washed away his wrongs. Willem showed himself worthy to be called your son. I don't say any of this to deepen your grief, Your Majesty. I mean merely for you to be proud of him.
Do you know why Willem died?
Well, he opened the gate for us, and...
He died because I ignored him, neglected him. It's why he betrayed me as well. Why he was in that castle with our foe. He is worthy to be called my son. I just don't know if I'm worthy to be called his mother. We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg. Arnulf, find a place at one of the tables. Have a drink. Meet my men.
Think there's been a failure to communicate, lass? I didn't join your army to meet men, but to meet death. A good, honourable death. Quicker you lead me to that, the better.
I wish not to pry, but why do you long for death?
For only death can cleanse me of shame. You must have heard what they call me. Arnulf the Patricide. A moniker I earned. Oh, I did.
To die by one's child's hand. A terrible fate. And it shall be mine as well if I lose this war.
But did you earn it, this fate?
What? Not always have I been just with Willem. I dismissed him, neglected him, but...
Neglected? Listen, lass. My dad, he beat me till my skin turned blue and I chucked red bile. He'd drink and beat, drink and beat. My brother, Ulf, Da clobbered him to death. My ma, she took her own life. Never met this son of yours. But I know you's a bit now, and I can say this. No kin of yours needs slaying.
I can't help but wonder, what does it signify? The tattoo on your head?
Ain't a tattoo. Carved these runes with a knife.
The method makes little difference. What do they mean?
Aim here. Message for enemy archers. Alas, don't seem they can read it. At least not from a distance. And when they get close, it's already too late for them.
The war nears its end.
Sadly.
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company, so go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Maeve, I must say it again, I'm sorry. And I thank you for forgiving me.
No need to say any more, Gascon.
But you've got to know.
Every time you bring it up, I'm tempted to change my mind. Now let's turn to the task at hand. Listen, I'd wish to speak again of...
Wait, I know what of, and you know it's a topic I'd rather not dwell on.
It won't help to let those thoughts fester.
And what would help? Barring a magical leap into the past, of course. Maeve, believe me, I've shed tears enough for my family. I've no need to think of it. No need to speak of it. And certainly not with you.
So, what awaits you now? What will you do?
Been contemplating it of late. Thought I might go back to the life of an outlaw. Not that I'd expect you to approve.
You're quite right, I wouldn't. It's why I wish to make certain you'll not feel tempted. Gascon, I hereby bestow upon you a number of estates near Scala.
What? Maeve? Damn it, I don't know what to say.
Ha! A first?
Thank you, Maeve. 1,000 thanks.
'Tis I who should thank you. With all my heart. It's time I attended to other matters. Farewell.
Your Grace, I wished once more to express my gratitude for your show of mercy.
I showed mercy, true, but felt much more. Anger, pain, now resentment. You hurt me, Rainard. Wounded me to the bloody core. I don't know what else to say on the matter, so let's not speak of it.
As you wish, Your Grace.
The war nears its end. What next for Rainard Odo?
Whatever you command, Your Grace.
Ugh.
Is something amiss, my lady?
To be perfectly blunt, I've no wish to give you orders anymore.
Your Grace, would you wish me to leave? Remove me from the court?
No, Rainard. I'd wish you to stay. But I'd no longer wish to be your queen alone. Do you catch my meaning?
I do, Meave. I do.
It's time I attended to other matters.
You need my help with anything? Anything at all? I've ideas aplenty.
We've come a long way, Barnabas. You've plans for the future?
We may have won the war, but I've oodles still on my plate. So many riddles unanswered, so many inventions unrevealed.
Perhaps you could join my court. Continue your work there.
We get along splendidly, Your Grace, I know. But that's simply not the life for me. In situ, one sees nothing new, as they say. Besides, I have some unsavory memories from my time at the court of King Nidemir. Come to think of it, I do wonder if they ever managed to put out that fire.
I understand, Barnabas. Yet if ever you change your mind, you know where to find me.
Thank you, Your Majesty, for everything.
Ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwarven!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renna. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and I'm no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You make excuses that don't interest me. I want him in chains, and he's to be sent to Demavend.
You don't understand. He hates...
Oh, I understand very well. I know his hatred for your kind, but I don't bloody care.
Soon after, the Aedirnians took in all Meave's elven prisoners. What became of them?
Aha! There she is! Queen Meave, Savior of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Meave, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tucked tail, went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Oh, growing like a weed he is. And spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what a villain.
He perished in the assault on Rivia Castle.
Oh my. Fighting for which side?
The right one. Demavend, the wound is fresh, the pain immense. I'd rather we not speak of it. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home, but the old borders don't satisfy a soul.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one, wait in ambush, and when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces...
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersburg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Neve set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace. It's not far now.
That very same day, Meve's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin. It seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madam Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Kaldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Meve's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly. And you're certain you're not mistaken? The wonders of this world. Kaldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission, with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Kaldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief.
to leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task. Eve failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Epdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Epdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Meve had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ah! So a lass saved the North from the Black Clans?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap. She find herself one in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time we got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Rainard, Gascon.
Ah, very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem, a pawn, a tool in others' hands. Most, if not all, had seen him thus. Yet in the end, he proved his worth soundly. Though he'd started the war a traitor, he perished in the fray, a hero, and would be remembered as such. Having settled in Rivia, Gascon embarked on a life worthy of his noble origins. In doublet and ruff, he looked to his ample fields and livestock in daytime, attended banquets and feasts come the eve. And then one night, he grabbed his bow and quiver, saddled his favorite mount, and disappeared without a trace. As news of the Nordling victory filtered south, Nilfgaard's inhabitants greeted it with disbelief. Returning Imperial soldiers told stories of Lyria's cruel queen, who murdered prisoners and sullied sacred laws. They referred to her as Gvaeldet, the bloodthirsty one. Once the Scoia'tael had withdrawn from the northern realms, non-rebel elves and dwarves emerged from the woods. Though they returned to their homes in human communities, they lived in fear of their neighbors, aware that the next massacre would eventually come. And Meve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist. Rainard ever at her side, tempering, supportive. No longer a general and trusted advisor, he had to the Queen become something more. Much, much more. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.